you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
That's it! You're locked in here with me!
Excuse me while I whip this out.
You think I care about you? I don't care about nobody. Nobody. All right. How you guys doing? Trudeau Survivor. Good to see chat's a little slow pre-stream already. Says everybody must be at the gym burning off the pumpkin pie and whipped cream. That explains it. I was getting worried there for a second. I was worried about everybody. Not that I care about anybody, but I was worried about them. I was worried about everybody. Anyway, it's good to see you here, Trudeau Survivor. Now, as everybody knows, we're streaming on Rumble, YouTube, X, and Locals tonight. And every time that we stream. And when you like this stream, you get free good karma. Everybody knows that. But not everybody knows that when you get the first like of the stream, the first like, in fact, it really goes down like, it goes down a little bit each like, but the first like, you might get double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, numbers above that. Never infinite good karma, though. Never infinite good karma. But you get double, triple, quadruple, quintuple good karma. And then, you know, the next one, the second would get maybe, you know, quadruple or triple or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that Trudeau Survivor got the first like of the stream because nobody's claiming it. I'm going to go ahead and assume that you have that, Trudeau Survivor. So I am bestowing you with quintuple good karma. That's so much you can just sleep so well tonight, so easy, knowing everything's going to be just fine. Just fine. What does that mean that you just GTY? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. All right. Izzy got like number 3, so that would be a triple of good karma for Izzy. Congratulations, sir. All right. Now what are we doing? I got no plan. I just was going to look at some Hayek's boobs. That's it. Trudeau Survivor says everybody's dead. Let's face the hard facts. God damn it. I was hoping it was. I was hoping that wasn't it. Well, we still got Trudeau Survivor because Trudeau Survivor is hard to kill because he survived Trudeau. So, and Izzy's still here. Izzy is tough as nails. Tough as nails. I guess everybody else ate it, I guess. Nobody else made it. Damn it. Normally, Radio Baloney brings everybody home, but, you know, Trudeau Survivor says, good guess. Good guess. So I don't know. Could everybody be dead? I don't know. I haven't looked up my window for a while. Is there any mushroom clouds? I hope not. I hope everybody's not dead. I really hope not. All right. Well, let's get to the menu. Let's see what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to go through the menu. Those are juicy jugs. Salma Hayek. And they are spectacular and they are natural. All right. Here's the stories we're going to talk about tonight, though. We're going to talk about the Israel and Trump and the peace deal and Hamas, and they got the hostages back, but it doesn't look like Hamas really wants to go away. So we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about Trump talking about all of that. We're going to talk about the dystopian legislation coming from the carny liberal government in Canada. You knew it was coming. You knew they were going to try and shut everybody down. You knew that totalitarian boot was going to come down on the face of every Canadians. You got Bill C2, C8, C9. It looks like what Carney is most interested in is just turning Canada into a dystopian hellhole. Also, in hellhole news, the UK. So we'll talk about Tommy Robinson here. They are persecuting him again. It's also transparent. It's so obvious. It is tragic what is happening and what has happened to the UK. We're going to do some, Airstrip 1, some UK police state news. It's actually shocking, and it's real. That's the really insane thing. All right. Kevin O'Leary I like Kevin O'Leary, and I usually appreciate what he says, but he has a terrible take on Pierre Poilievre here. We're going to go over that. Yeah, we got Mark Carney here. Here he is, not elbows up again. Not elbows up. Which, by the way, elbows up was always idiotic. It's just, how are the people who voted for the idiotic slogan elbows up, how are they dealing with Carney just apparently being in love with Donald Trump? No man could love Donald Trump more than Mark Carney, apparently. It is, I said this the other night, it is the love that dare not get lower steel and aluminum tariffs. That's the kind of love Mark Carney has for Trudeau. Terrible stuff. We're going to take a look at what's going in Chicago with the, like Bolshevik revolution going on there. He looks like a normal person. Guess what? He's a Bolshevik. Pritzker is a Bolshevik. It's unbelievable. He's in disguise as a normal politician. Of course, we're going to take out some Antifa stuff because that's in the news. Here's a Chinese car that locked the people, the owners of the car, inside and then burnt them alive in the Chinese car. So that's what the Chinese car, that's one of the features. I don't know if you pay extra for that. So it's something to consider if, getting rid of those the tariffs on the Chinese electric cars. Because I don't know, it seems pretty awful to get burned alive inside your electric car because the electric car locked you inside to make sure that you get burned to death. I don't know, it seems bad. Memes, we have memes because I am a man of memes. Well, other people's memes, but I try to remember to credit the people who post these where I can. We're going to go through those. These are big sellers on the new channel, the new YouTube channel, Radio Baloney News, the new YouTube channel, Radio Baloney News. That's the only place you'll find the meme reviews. And this J.K. Rowling versus Woke Canada, the Woke Vancouver Parks and Recreation Board, it's selling like hotcakes. What else we got? We got memes. We got some gender, some stuff on the gender lunacy, and apparently the tide is starting to recede on the social contagion. What was obviously always a social contagion. Maybe these videos have been doing some good after all. We've got some news on the residential schools, and what I think we have to say at this point is, at the very least, residential school grave deception. Some people say hoax. Yeah. Patrick Bet David, what the hell is he talking about? Oh yeah, he's talking about how Mom Donnie's going to destroy New York. So probably. Let's see. We've got new Canadian truck driver. One of these new Canadian. That's a stop sign underneath the truck, huh? Is that irony? That might be irony. Let's see. Some Canadian media bias. They're not here to inform. They're here to manipulate. State broadcaster CBC blurs out Nazi tattoo during interview with Ukrainian fighter. For some reason, they didn't want people to see that. Can you imagine if it was just some random person at a Pierre Poilievre rally, right? It would lead the news for a month on the CBC. But here in this case, they blur it out. So you don't know, so that you can't know the CBC's dark secret. And then we got that last one here. The beautiful last tab of the evening that has all of the beautiful random news on it that everybody loves. It's all the best. Everybody says they love this one the best. We've got random stuff in here and like crazy. Oh, there's Rosie's dogs. We love Rosie's dogs. And there's the devil from the Babylon Bee, and there he is again. And we got some fun stuff. We got some comedy. We got this crazy biatch. Some people are saying, I'm not saying that. I heard people saying that, though. I heard people down the street saying that. I was listening to them, and they called her a crazy biatch. And you will find out that she is. You will find out that she is. Let's say 3 years of therapy in 60 seconds. This guy is spot on. Lots of random stuff in here. I don't know. There's animals getting scared and stuff, and people doing stuff and throwing things off bridges, and it's all crazy. And that's not even real, and I didn't even realize it. Thank God for the reader's added context. Should we just look at that right now? Let's not save it. Let's look at it right now because it's not real. So let's just look at it right now. What's going on here? There's a cat giving a present of a dead mouse to the owner, and oh, yuck. That looks so real is the problem. Like you can see a little bit here, actually. Hold on. But I mean, that could just be an artifact of the camera too, right? Like, 'cause low light looks like that there. You saw that, but damn, this looks real. This video is AI generated. This is just getting scary. This is just getting scary. I mean, what if that wasn't a cat? What if he was sleeping there and that wasn't a cat? That was Liberace. And he came and put something in that guy's mouth. I'm just saying that this is getting weird. This is getting really, really weird. All right, let me get back to the chat. I hope the chat's a little busier now. Where the hell is everybody? Izzy, Trudeau, have you heard from anyone? Where is everybody? It was very quiet last night during the premium stream, too. I mean, beautiful crowd, best crowd ever, obviously. But quiet, though. So I don't know what is something going on? I guess there's sports ball going on. I guess there's baseball going on? World Series? Now what's going on? Let's see. Trudeau survivor said, everybody's dead. Let's face the hard facts. Let's face the hard facts. I think you're right. Trudeau survivor says, where are all your milkshakes bringing people to the yard? Where are all your milkshakes bringing people to the yard? Well, I think that her one, Selma Hayek's milkshakes bring the boys to the yard. I never really liked that saying very much. I thought it was kind of weird and gross. I'm not a big fan. Let's see. Izzy says, yeah, not a fan of no manual controls on the locks. I know, because we know what can happen now. If you're in a Chinese car, maybe another car, you can be locked inside and burnt alive by the car. So wrong. It's bad. Trudeau Survivor says, Cardi is like a Chihuahua trying to be the best friends with a big Saint Bernard. It's exactly like that. It's weird. They actually go way back, him and Trump. Like Cardi's done business with Jared Kushner. It still makes me laugh that, and they still believe this. Liberal voters still believe that Trump was trying to do reverse psychology on them when he endorsed Carney. Right, their liberal arts degrees have them very confident that they've been able to discern, able to read a Trump's mind, and discern that he was trying to do reverse psychology on them. And yeah. So we have liberal arts degrees. So no reverse psychology. He wanted Cardi. He likes Cardi. He likes Cardi because he knows what Cardi is going to do. He knew that Cardi was not going to make Canada a good place for doing business. He was going to make it worse. He's going to make it a much harder place to do business for Canadian companies, and those companies would flee to the States. That's why Trump loves Cardi. That's why I said, I think he's a great guy. He's doing a great job, Trump says. I think he's doing a great job. Oh, he's a really tough negotiator, Trump says. You know who says that? Somebody who just screwed you. Trudeau Survivor says, looking forward to O'Leary's garbage take. It's a terrible take. And I actually generally like O'Leary, but it's a terrible take, and I will explain why it's a terrible take. Trudeau Survivor says the Ukrainian Nazis was just a right-wing conspiracy theory. Yeah, that's why CBC is blurring out the swastika tattoos on them. Very good point, Trudeau Survivor. Trudeau Survivor asked, why is that ugly-faced woman getting so much attention? Well, you're talking about, where is she? Where is she? You're talking about Katie Porter. And I will say, look, I will be a little more tactful. She has an unfortunate face, I will just say. So much attention. Every conservative channel has reported on her. She's not that interesting, in my opinion. Well, we're not going to spend an hour on her. We'll spend like a few minutes. But yeah, it's worth seeing. Trudeau Survivor says, I want a video like the mouse video, but a spider crawls into the man's mouth. So nothing to do with Liberace at all then. Okay, noted. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says we should all start heading to our bunkers. I got to get started on my bunker. Damn it. I keep intending to. Then I just keep being busy every weekend. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, is reverse racism isn't real? What about if reverse racism isn't real? What about reverse psychology? I don't know. I guess that was just forward psychology that Trump did on the liberal voters when he told them to vote for Carney. He really wanted that. Yeah, and reverse racism isn't real. There's just racism is what there is. All right. Where the hell is everybody? What has happened to my chat? Did I piss everybody off? Did I play too much Tales of the Golden Monkey in the premium stream? Did I do that? I've been playing a lot of Tales of the Golden Monkey in the premium stream, But I'm fascinated by it. It's a show I remember loving, and I was devastated when they canceled it when I was like 10. And it was one season, and it was like an Indiana Jones ripoff. And the first episode, the pilot, is an hour and a half long. So you get extra value for that. And I'll be honest, I've been forcing the audience to watch Tales of the Golden Monkey with me. I wonder if I'm driving people off. Have I gone mad with power? I don't know. All I know is this. I hope everybody's having a good evening. Good evening. I mean, not that it's necessarily good. You might think that it's good, but you don't know what's around the corner. What could happen for a minute from now. A minute from now, you could be sitting there having the greatest time of your life. You're sitting there, you're hanging out. Meteor comes through the ceiling. Doesn't even kill you. Just takes your arm clean off, right off. You're like, what the hell happened? What did I do to deserve this? It's not because you had too many trans fats. It's not because you didn't get an hour of sunshine a day. It's just the universe saying, fuck you. Fuck you. Never relax. Never relax. Never be comfortable. But I mean, it's pretty good so far tonight. I don't think it's I'm having a decent time. I think it's a good night. I would say that it's a good night so far. I'm going to go with it's a good night so far. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, can we charge CBC with displaying hate symbols? Lock CBC up for life. Well, they did blur the swastika tattoo of the Ukrainian soldier. So I guess they got out. They found a loophole. Izzy says, probably just too much turkey. Too much turkey. That's where everybody is just in a turkey coma still. Trudeau Survivor says, you keep saying golden monkey. It's gold, not golden. No wonder people don't watch with such blatant misinformation. I believe it's Tales of the Golden Monkey. Excuse me. Hold on. Tales of the what? No, there it is. Golden Monkey. Wait a second. Hold on. This can't be right. What? I've been saying it wrong all of this time? Hold on. God damn it. Why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me? It's Tales of the Gold Monkey. God damn it. I've been saying Golden Monkey this entire time. God, I hate myself. God, I hate myself. I've been saying Tales of the Golden Monkey for decades. I'm talking decades, since I was like 10. All this time, such lies. I'm sorry, guys. I am sorry. This was a major screw up on my part. I mean, I check my facts. I do research. I really go out of my way. I try very hard. I put a lot of time into trying to make sure I'm correct when I'm reporting. And then here, under my nose, probably the most important thing of all, I'm saying Tales of the Golden Monkey. And the whole time it was Tales of the Gold Monkey. Maybe I was so traumatized by the cancellation of the show that somehow that made it better. I think we can all agree, obviously, that Tales of the Golden Monkey is just a much better title. Tales of the Gold Monkey is actually, it kind of takes away some of the magic, I've got to say. Maybe I just didn't want to believe that it was Tales of the Gold Monkey. I knew it all the time, but I just didn't want to believe it. All this time. Judo Survivor says, although golden does sound better. That's what I'm saying. I'm just going to keep saying it because I just like it better. And if I don't, it will destroy my childhood. So, no, I'm saying it. I'm saying Golden Monkey. Screw him. I know better. As he says, LOL, credibility crushed by a misremembering of a movie name. Well, it's a TV show. So you suck as well, actually. You know what we did in the premium stream, and I really enjoyed it, is that I had stuff set up for the stream, and then I said, fuck it. And I'm an adult, I can say that. I said, fuck it. I'm just going to do random stuff on X. You know what? It was a lot of fun. And I feel like doing that now, but I'm not going to. We're going to, we're going to do the stuff that's on the thumbnail because I did the thumbnail. So now we got to do it, but it's good stuff. Let's go. All right. So as we know, Trump got the hostages released. I was amazed by this. I mean, we're talking about it on the Friday stream. I said, Monday it might as well be 3 decades in the Middle East. I believe it when I see it. It actually happened. That is massive. It is massive. That's Nobel Peace Prize right there, right? Even if the rest of the plan doesn't work out, when it looks like it's not going to work out. Or although maybe, getting the hostages back was such a major win, even though the Israelis had to give back hundreds of actual terrorists in exchange. But it's a massive achievement in the ceasefire. Now, there's a lot of ugliness going on behind the scenes from Hamas and, in Gaza now, a lot of retribution and, I guess a lot of kind of power consolidation, because looks like Hamas is not planning on going anywhere. But let's hear Trump talk about this.
The living hostages have been returned. Can you please tell us what the next steps are?
Well, they're going and looking for bodies. It's a pretty gruesome task, and they know where numbers are, as you know. I guess 5 or 6 are in yet now. But they're looking for bodies. They know the areas, and they search bodies out, and they're doing it in conjunction with Israel. And they're going to be finding quite a few of them.
The living hostages have been returned. Can you please tell?
It is a massive achievement for Trump, right? Like, what are all those people who've been mocking him and mocking the process and blah, blah, blah. And Trump said, it's still, after all of this time, insisting that Trump is just some dummy who's got no idea. He's like some kind of mean Chauncey Gardner from Being There figure. They're still out there criticizing him, by the way. Some of the left has said, yeah, you got to give him credit for this one, right? But a lot of them are still just blindly deranged over him. Hold on. I just want to make sure I got all of the stuff in here. All right. So there's that. So the people that were out demanding a ceasefire every day, the Hamasniks, right, and screaming death to wherever they are, death to Canada, death to UK, death to USA, death to Israel, obviously. You would think they'd be thrilled by an end to the hostilities, even just temporarily. No. It turns out that they never actually cared about that at all. They care about something else.
Making sure that we are not able to end not just the genocide, but the settler, colonial, racist apartheid regime that is Israel.
Settler colonist empire. So let's hear that one more time, because they tell you what this is really about. And hint, it's never about the issue. It's always about the revolution.
Not just the genocide, but the settler, colonial, racist apartheid regime.
Yeah, so settler, colonist, racist, apartheid. So settler, colonist is just code for capitalism. These are all socialists. These are all Marxists, all communists. All that's the thing that every single, whatever it is, whatever flag that's up there, whatever, it's gender or it's this or it's environment, they're all communists. Greta Thunberg, turns out she's just a commie all along. This is the language. By the way, this settler colonist stuff, this is zombie Soviet propaganda from the 50s. This is zombie Soviet active measures from decades ago that's still alive. They're using the Soviets were using the exact same language and terminology in their anti-Western propaganda decades and decades ago. These idiots just keep repeating it.
That is Israel. Let's not get confused. A ceasefire means nothing. A ceasefire means nothing if it demobilizes us from ending Zionism itself.
Ending Zionism itself. So what does that mean? What could ending Zionism mean? Let's see. Well, what's that thing they say, from the river to the sea? So most of the people here at this don't know which river and which sea, right? But say, do they mean that from the Mediterranean to the Jordan River, that there'll be no Zionism, quote unquote, Zionism there for good? What do they mean by that exactly? I wonder.
Ideology of fascism, an ideology of racism in order.
So now it's fascism and racism and settler colonists. It's just, this is the same. This is what the environmentalists say. It's all the same language. You'll notice this. It doesn't matter. The issue is never the issue. The issue is always the revolution, right? You go to an environmental thing, listen to Greta Thunberg. It's anti-capitalism. It's colonization. It's racism. Blah blah blah. No matter what it is, it's all the same stuff. He could take this speech and just use it at anything. He could go to some gender protest. He could go to an ICE protest. He could be in front of a Tesla dealership. He wouldn't have to change a word. It's all the same stuff. He would maybe have to replace, Zionism with, I don't know, just say outright capitalism or something.
For Palestine to be free, Zionism has to end in this world. That is a pure fact. That is a material reality of our cause. So these marches continue. They have to continue until apartheid ends. Not just this genocide. The genocide has been ongoing for 100 years. We keep marching. We keep on disrupting. We keep on
genocide for 100 years? Well, considering that there's like millions more, there's a lot more Palestinians now than there were 100 years ago. Does it really make sense to use the word genocide, if the word genocide means anything at all?
And we keep on supporting those and being involved with those who are smashing up the weapons of war. We need direct action. We need civil
direct action, commie speak. They're all just communists. They're all just communists. And obviously, they were not being honest with their goals before, because all of a sudden the goalposts have moved. And they don't sound any happier. In fact, they sound pretty unhappy with what's happened. Let's see. Naftali Bennett said, I would have expected the streets of European capitals and campuses around the world to burst with joy for the end of what they claimed is genocide. Might it be that their goal was never to secure Palestinian lives, to destroy Israel? Yeah, I wonder. Naomi Wolf says, yeah, seriously, crickets at the prospect of peace. Because, yeah, they were lying all along. All along. Let's see. All right. Breaking. Hamas openly admits it has no intention of disarming or giving up power in Gaza. 2 core requirements of the ceasefire deal it accepted just days ago. In an interview last night, Hamas spokesperson Hazem Qassem declared the group will reject all Israeli demands related to weapons, saying, quote, "We will not be prisoners to Israeli terminology or demands. This will be a key focus in the next phase of our struggle." Qassem also signaled that Hamas plans to reinterpret the signed agreement on Gaza's governance, pushing for a governing body that aligns with its agenda and preserves its influence. Hamas is openly defying the peace deal as it prepares for the next war. So, as shocked as I was to see the hostages actually get released, I think there's a pattern, right? So they're saying, they're thinking, well, we'll lose this leverage for now and we'll get more later after we rebuild. And just this cycle will continue. Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, all of those, as a part of that, 21 point peace plan, part was, Hamas having nothing to do with the running of Gaza. And that was a sticking point. I thought, well, if Trump got the hostages out, who knows what he's capable of? But that is going to be a difficult one. What are you guys saying? Let's see. Izzy says they won't be able to keep a lasting peace. Far too much hate still. Well, yeah. That's the thing. When you've got kids shows where you've got puppets murdering Jews, and that's like a show for kids, it's pretty deep, right? Judo Survivor says Israel and Palestine will be back fighting within, let's say, 2 years, probably a little bit longer, I would think. Izzy says that'd be hopeful. I'd be surprised if it lasts 6 months. Well, again, who knows? Trudeau Survivor says Palestinians won't keep the peace. Perpetual victim mentality with a desire to promulgate their anti-Jewish ideology. Well, the question is, how much is Hamas actually Palestinians? Now, I have to assume there's some, portion, and I don't know how big of it, if it's 50% or 60 or 70 or 20% of Palestinians are just like, okay, we've had enough. Let's just live now, right? We don't need to do this. We don't, what percentage? I don't know. But if it's 10% that's absolutely dead set against it, you're screwed, because 10% is a lot of people. A lot of people. There's a couple million, Palestinians there. 10% of that is a lot of people. And they can, a small 1% can ruin it for everybody. 0.1% can ruin it for everybody. So that's the problem. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, darn these colonizers and this bullhorn I'm using. From the guy in London, yeah. Let's see. Izzy says, not going to last 6 weeks. Yeah. It's a crazy place. They share the same destruction of property mentality as BLM. Trudeau Survivor says, did Hamas get 70% of the previous vote? They won the one vote that they had, Hamas won, and then there's not been any votes since. So in 20 years or something since they've had Gaza. Izzy says they'll rename themselves and rebuild. Yeah, I mean, that looks like the way it's going to go, right? I don't know if Israel can do anything about that. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on. All right. So here's Trump speaking on this. So he's been with the, his fellow world leaders. Let's hear what he has to say about it. Let's not forget that Starmer, Macron, and Carney in Canada actively worked against Trump by saying they're recognizing Palestinian state while Trump was working on the peace deal. I guess they were probably totally out of the loop because they're so irrelevant.
They can handle it.
Some of those players, and particularly Erdogan, they also help in the war between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, Erdogan can. He's respected by Russia. Ukraine, I can't tell you about, but he is respected by Putin. And he's a friend of mine, you can see. Why I get along with the tough ones. I don't get along with the weak ones. I get along with the tough ones. I don't know what that is, but Erdogan's been great with me. When NATO has a problem with Erdogan, which they often do, they call me to talk to him. And I've never failed in working it out like immediately. Is that right? How's Caroline doing? Is she doing good? Should Caroline be replaced?
No. That's up to you, sir.
It'll never happen.
Nobody wants to.
I said she does a great job.
Thank you.
Do you want to elaborate on the
And those lips, they move like a machine gun, right?
Do you want to elaborate on the countries you consider weak?
They really are? Okay, what?
Do you want to comment on the leaders you consider weak who are in that room?
No, I won't comment on that, but you know probably who they are.
Just an idea. Before we.
I don't know. There were a couple in the room. But
Overall,
I thought that was an amazing group of people. I don't think they've ever seen a semblance like that between power, money, etc., etc. There's never been anything like that. So but you know what? I have to, because the plane is going to take off.
Are you hosting Zelensky at the White House on Friday?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, President Trump. Have a good time. Thank you, everybody.
Well, he's in a good mood, and he should be. There's never been a more honest president. I know that the left, he's lies. No, there's never been a more honest president than Trump. Couple of weak ones in the room. No, I won't say, but you probably know who they are. Trump is hilarious. He really is, but he's also actually achieving things, like major things, right? Again, I keep going back to the border, right? They kept, the whole story, the whole mainstream news narrative was that, you need a bipartisan border bill, and Trump doesn't want that, and because blah blah blah. Trump, his whole campaign, he was like, look, you don't need that. You don't need a bipartisan border bill that's just going to make crossing into the country illegal legal. You just need to enforce the law. He did it within a few weeks of getting in. I mean, what leader of which country can you think of that acted that fast on a campaign promise? He wasn't just trying to get votes. He meant it. He meant it, and he did it. He's been incredibly effective. You look at this. It's truly astonishing. He managed to finally get those hostages back. What the hell did Biden do? Not that he was capable of doing anything, but what did the puppet masters behind him do? Nothing. All right, let's go back to the chat for a second. Hey, Mike, over on YouTube. Good to see you. Hello from Kingston, Ontario. Good to see you. I'm not sure we've had somebody from Kingston before, or at least not telling us. Let's see. Just so you know, Michael, the chat you see on the screen, it's like always like 99% or 95% or 90% from Rumble, because we have a fantastic, beautiful Rumble audience here. The water's great. You should jump into the Rumble chat. Beautiful people, the best people in the Rumble chat. Now, the people in YouTube are also beautiful people. They're also miracles of nature themselves. But I'm just saying that if you see the chat on the screen, but you're not seeing it in the YouTube chat, it's because it's all happening over on Rumble. But welcome in. Good to see you. Izzy says, I'm sure the war took out a lot of their leaders. Well, yeah, they took out some of their leaders in Qatar, right? A bunch of them. And also in Gaza itself. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says Hamas will change their name to Baconas. What? I'm not sure that even makes sense. Canuck Six Trigger says, third thumbs up again. Well, you're in luck, my friend, because that would give you 3. That's triple or treble, some might say. Triple good karma. Triple good karma for the third thumbs up. There you go. I mean, these are the kind of stories that I love. People just coming in, they're liking the stream, they're getting all this good karma, good things are happening to them. People put on testimonials in the chat all the time of all the good things that happen to them when they like the stream and they get that good karma, especially when they get that mother load of the first one. It could be 3, 4, 5, 6, who knows? Could be an enormous amount of good karma. I mean, I had one guy tell me that he was constipated for 4 days before the stream. He liked the stream. Guess what he did right after the stream? Don't imagine it, but you know what he did. I hope I didn't just ruin everybody's evening. But that's the kind of thing. There was a guy who he liked the stream, and the next day he went, it was raining out, and he put on a raincoat he hadn't worn in months, and he reached in his pocket. There was $10 in there. Can you believe that? Yeah, I bet you can believe that, because that's the power of the good karma that you get from me, and only from me. Don't trust anybody else. They're liars. They're all liars. Let's see. Izzy says he exaggerates, talking about Trump. He exaggerates in his boasts in part as a negotiation tactic. Yeah. How anybody could be naive on Trump's tactics at this point, right? After, a decade in politics, it just blows my mind. Yes, he does. You're absolutely right there. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, thank goodness Canuck is here. We need more people to fact check Radio Baloney. What was I was wrong about Tales of the Golden Monkey. It's actually Tales of the Golden Monkey. It's something I wish I didn't know. I wish I'd never found out about that, really. And I will always kind of resent you guys a little bit for bringing it up. I got to be honest. Because I was happier when I thought it was Tales of the Golden Monkey, which sounds a lot better than Tales of the Gold Monkey. It takes some of the magic away for me, I have to say. Very disappointing. Izzy says, the best chat is Rumble chat. It sure is. Trudeau Survivor is explaining it to me. Ham ass, bacon ass. Is it that difficult? You know what? It never occurred to me because there was ham in Hamas. Because that's haram as well. So isn't that interesting? Thank you for pointing that out, Trudeau Survivor. Now what are we doing? Let's see what's the next thing. Not that life isn't meaningless and none of this matters, but don't listen to me. Let's see. We already saw that. Let's move on. Bill C8 in Canada. So Mark Carney, it seems that his real goal is not to, rescue the Canadian economy and turn Canada into an energy superpower or any of this stuff. It seems that his main priority right now seems to be to just simply put down the censorship and totalitarian boot on the face of every Canadians. Because what is he doing legislatively? He's doing Bill C2, which will allow the government without a warrant, and not even the police, just some government official, to just spy on everybody's emails, mail, like regular postage mail, your emails, your text messages, everything. Bill C8. Bill C8 will give the government the power to, again, not even the police, not even the RCP, just a government minister, the power to just deny anybody internet service or any telecommunication services for any reason. Watch my video on the bill. It's right there in the legislation. It's right there in the bill for any reason. And they don't even have to tell anybody about it. It's amazing. Bill C9 going to change they've tried to do this before, but Bill C9 is going to change the definition of hate into this nebulous thing, which is just perfect for any activist judge that wants to persecute people for dissent, for not being Stalinist enough, in their opinion. I mean, it's all just unbelievably dystopian and unbelievably predictable, actually. And everybody who voted for Mark Carney, I maybe 3% of them know about any of this, and less than that would even care, would actually think it's a good thing. Because we're at the end of history and nothing will ever change, and it could never be used against them. Only those evil conservatives. Well, good luck with that. Let's take a look. It's just a tidal wave of dystopian legislation. It's depressing. It really, I mean, this is a real threat, actually. Certainly a huge threat to free speech in the country and to independent media. I mean, the bill says literally for any reason. And they don't even have to tell anyone. And it's not the police. This could just be some government official, a bureaucrat doing it. Let's take a look.
We must take the bill at face value. We must rely on what the text explicitly sets out in the law. Otherwise, the law intended to protect telecommunications infrastructure could easily be weaponized by any government against ordinary citizens. Citizens most at risk are people like me, those who publicly and loudly express dissent, challenge orthodoxy, or raise uncomfortable truths. These citizens most active in civil society are most at risk of being cut off, penalized, and isolated without ever knowing why. For these reasons, Bill C-8 undermines the principles of fundamental justice in the Charter as it stands. Security in this context can be a pretext for control, while transparency and liberty are sacrificed.
So you could just one day, you can't even have a cell phone anymore. And they don't have to tell you why, and they won't. Because apparently you are a threat to Canadian telecommunications, and you're you're some sort of crypto threat. They don't have to tell anybody. I mean, it's designed to be abused. The purpose of this is to the words for any reason are there for it to be abused, so that it can be abused. And plus they make it secret. I mean, how gullible do you have to be to not see the danger in this? How it's going to be applied, how it's going to be arbitrarily applied, how it's going to be corrupt, how corrupt it's going to be, how it's going to just simply be to crush dissent. If this bill goes through, I wouldn't be surprised if the next day Rebel News is just gone and Ezra Levant's gone. I would not be surprised. I would not be in the slightest bit surprised or shocked. And they won't even talk about it. And of course, the CBC would be thrilled, right? Every Carney voter would be thrilled about it. Yeah. Oh, well, they're evil right wing. Evil right wing. They're evil conservatives, so it's good. The people who can't see past their own shadow would say. It's lunacy. I mean, I didn't think it could get any worse than under Trudeau, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. All right. Just dystopian to the core. And talking about dystopian, we've got the UK here as well. But let's go back. Let's go back for a second. You know what? Do you know what, folks? Trudeau Survivor says, I feel safer already. It's always to keep you safe, right? It's always to keep you safe. Safe from thinking too much and expressing those thoughts, because that's dangerous, right? That's a threat to democracy, right? Different ideas are a threat to democracy. Everybody knows that. All right. I'm going to leave this on for a minute. And, yeah, then I'm going to come back because, I don't know, bladder. You know what I'm talking about. Lots of coffee. I'll be right back.
You lousy corksuckers.
Well, thank you for your patience, everybody. How you doing? Turtles, good to see you. People are finally showing up. Good to see you, Turtles. Fourth like, that would be a double good karma for you, Turtles. Double good karma. Enjoy that good karma. Turtle says, have a stray cat and named him Charlie. The day he died, we have a Charlie. Oh, okay. Well, that's very interesting. Huh. Okay, well that's interesting. All right. I hope it's a nice cat. I hope it's a nice cat. Let's see. Now what's going on? Let's see. As he says, yeah, it's the doing so without court oversight and the gag order. Yeah, so Bill C8. Yes, so they can just the Canadian government, if the bill passes, will be able to just kick anybody off the internet, deny telecommunications services to anybody. It says in the bill for any reason, and they can keep it secret. So that sounds totalitarian to me, and like it's definitely going to be misused. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if they just start with Rebel News on day one and then just go down the list all the way down until there's just no conservative independent news going on at all. Trudeau's driver says, think how much money taxpayers can save if people could just be sent straight to jail. I'm sure Cardi thinks about that all the time. How much more money could be invested in green boondoggles? Let's see. As he says, we'll be given our 2 minutes of hate, and the rest will be feel good stories about the government. Yeah, it's dystopian. I mean, will there be a miracle to stop all of this? I don't know. I hope so. All right. Well, let's get to this. Should we go to the UK? All right. So Tommy Robinson posted this. The UK government now categorizes anyone who believes Western culture is under threat because of mass migration is a terrorist. This is England 2025. So, yeah, he reposted this from Basil the Great. UK government says we're all terrorists. So here's their website, gov.uk. Says prevents official refresher awareness course hosted on gov.uk states that cultural nationalism is one of the most common subcategories of extreme. It's not just right-wing terrorist ideology, it's extreme right-wing terrorist ideology. Alongside white supremacism and white ethno-nationalism. So just what every other country does is extreme right-wing terrorism if it's in the UK or I guess Canada or the United States. Let's see. Terrorist ideologies, extreme right-wing, cultural nationalism. Western culture is under threat from mass migration and a lack of integration by certain ethnic and cultural groups. So describing reality is extreme right-wing terrorism. Well, Keir Starmer, I mean, he literally declared war on British patriots, right? Really what it means is the working class, the people who have to bear the brunt and shoulder the burden of their insane policies. Yeah, so yeah, I mean they're not hiding it. They're not pretending that that's not what they're doing. They're just coming straight out and saying it, right? If you like your culture, you think you deserve your own culture, right? If the indigenous people of of Britain think they deserve their own culture, they like their own culture, and they want to keep it, they're a threat. Well, a threat to who? A threat to globalists is what? Let's see. So Tommy Robinson is being persecuted for what, the 100th time by the British government again? This time it is for not letting the police into his phone. Hold on a second. I've got something here. We've got a bunch of stuff on this, actually. So here, posted from Tommy Robinson. So let's see what happened. So the corrupt legacy media inevitably ran with the corrupt authorities narrative that it was okay to pull me over as a potential terrorist because I was driving my mate's Bentley. The shudders in the establishment as a working class man drove a Bentley. So let's take a look. Crown Prosecution Service has released footage of Tommy Robinson. Ooh, this is scary. He's driving a car. He's driving an expensive car. Listen to that music as well, like the sinister background music too by the pathetic Daily Mail. Gee, it's just, it must be terrifying to be Tommy Robinson. Just an entire establishment, both conservative, labor, and just the whole thing, just after him. So apparently refusing to divulge your phone PIN, it makes you a terrorist in the UK. If you're Tommy Robinson, right? If you're not Tommy Robinson, no, you're fine. Or maybe you're not fine, but you're not a terrorist. I don't. Okay, let's hear from Tommy Robinson here. Hold on. Here, let's hear him talk about it. So here, the verdict is in, or is it? Day 2 results of my terrorism trial. Day 2 is over. The circus is done for now. Here's how the courts, the government, and the media have tried to bury me at every turn. This isn't justice. It's persecution dressed up as process. All right, let's hear it.
What has transpired upstairs? I'll make sure we got...
You on?
Yeah, we're on.
Verdict is the 4th of November, so back to court, which again is more fees because they just said now we're going to have another bill for another day in court. It's just insane, isn't it? Another bill for another day in court. We heard all the evidence. There was no evidence, yeah? So they arrested me under terrorism legislation, which is where they're meant to find out if I'm a terrorist. All they asked me about was my political beliefs. All they asked me about. So they didn't ask me about anything to do with violence, terrorism. In the end, they threw in something about far-right extremism. They didn't ask me anything about that. They just asked me about my legal, lawful, legitimate political beliefs, which is what this was about. This was about detaining me because I'm Tommy Robinson and because I'm outspoken on subjects such as Islam. You heard it from the final officer, Islamophobia. So what even is Islamophobia? What, you can't have an opinion of Islam without getting detained under the Terrorism Act now in Great Britain? But that's it. So I'm 4th of November, which is a good thing because it means I get to go on a state visit to Israel tomorrow to form friendship.
Hold on a second. Just think about that term for a second, Islamophobia. So what's a phobia? It's an irrational fear. So they're saying that any fear of Islam or any criticism is an irrational fear, and that's a crime. So a literal thought crime. Think about how insane that is. Let me back this up just a little bit.
Opinion of Islam without getting detained under the Terrorism Act now in Great Britain. But that's it. So I'm 4th of November, which is a good thing because it means I get to go on a state visit to Israel tomorrow to form friendships and allegiances with a government that actually understands Islamic jihad and doesn't just understand them, a government that will stand in the face and fight them rather than bow and pander to them. Because unfortunately, this government bows and panders to Islamic jihad. They've lost, they've surrendered already. Surrendered, recognised a terrorist state. So yeah, I'm happy because I thought they may try and lock me up today to prevent that. But yeah, I'm off tomorrow, and then I'm back in court now on the 4th of November for my verdict.
And my final point, I went upstairs earlier on to use the toilet. I then went into court 1. When I arrived, I saw this young gentleman being dragged out.
Get dragged out. They dragged him out. I was sitting in there, and the judge had said, Ezra, after fighting, recognised, because he had to recognise that he's a legitimate journalist that's come from Canada. Then when the judge went out of the back room, the staff come in and said to Ezra, you need to get out of here. And they said, well, the judge, I heard you saying, well, the judge has just said I can stay in it. Nope, you need to leave. Then they brought security in to forcefully eject.
And I was there.
You saw it? Yeah.
I was there.
Okay, I was sitting in the dock to forcefully eject you from court. Mad. As I said, there's a war against citizen journalism being fought by the state.
It was shocking to me. I mean, the judge gave me the green light, and then the staff wouldn't have it.
They done it when the judge was out in the back. Right. So we don't know if the judge was on side or not.
We don't know. You're right. Very strange.
So the judge may have gone out the back and forcefully had you removed. We don't know.
Yeah. And that's only 1% of what you face here all the time. Yeah. Not even 1% of the deep state, if you can call it that. They don't want any challengers. You're a challenger to it. I'm a challenger in a smaller way.
They don't want anyone telling the other side. What's insane has been their reporting on this case. So let's see what happens on the 4th of November. And then we can dissect, if we win this case, which I hope we do, we can then dissect the absolute embarrassment of journalism from the entire row of mainstream journalists, as well as all the ones online. None of them reported any of the unlawful activities of the police officers, which have been proven as unlawful in court.
You know, the judge asked me to go easy on the cops and the prosecutors. That's what he asked me to. But he didn't. I was going to say he didn't ask anyone to go easy on you. It's sort of normal that you defame Tommy in your mainstream coverage.
Or didn't pick up on any of the lies they told either, or the way they twisted stories. Yeah. But yeah, I'm grateful for everyone who supported me. I'm grateful for Elon Musk for giving me the opportunity to have my King's Counsel in there. So Carson Kay, my solicitor firm, and the King's Counsel, Alistair Williamson, was unbelievable. He absolutely tore those 3 police officers a new arsehole.
Excellent. And will you be having dinner with the BBC journalists in the distant future?
I'll be finding them once I'm cleared on the 4th of November.
Excellent. Tommy, as normal, thanks you very much.
Thank you.
People around the world, around the country.
So, this is a, pardon me. So this is Ezra Levant from Rebel News, who owns Rebel News, and he himself has been persecuted, gone through the process punishment. The punishment is the process from the Trudeau government on multiple occasions now, from the Trudeau regime, and I'm sure there's more to come. I mean, if you're looking at this legislation, C2, C8, C9, I'm sure they've got more in store. They would love to get rid of Ezra Levant and Rebel News. I mean, a lot of people in Canada wouldn't have known about Tommy Robinson if it wasn't for him in the first place. A lot of people in Canada wouldn't have known about Tommy Robinson if it weren't for Ezra Levant in the first place. And I'm sure that this legislation is designed for outlets like Rebel News. And the mainstream media in Canada is particularly the CBC, Rosemary Barton. I don't even want to imagine the smugness on her face if they managed to destroy and just get Rebel News out. Just managed to completely destroy them. And it's a problem in Canada. It's a problem. There's no Fox News in Canada, right? It's just the same. It's the same feed into the same teleprompters on every channel, unfortunately. And if you want to know what's actually happening, right, you have to watch independent news in Canada. You have to. Or, if you want an independent perspective, you've got to go to independent news. It's just going to be a carbon copy on Global, CTV, CBC. Here's Ezra Levant again. Let's take a look.
So you were just manhandled by the security in Magistrate Court.
That's the most romantic moment I've had in.
Start that over.
So you were just manhandled by the security in Magistrate Court.
That's the most romantic moment I've had in a long time.
So you're an accredited Canadian journalist. Have you ever reported in British courts before, and have you ever seen these amount of issues?
I've reported in British courts for almost 10 years now. I don't know if you know, but Tommy Robinson actually used to work for Rebel News way back in the day. So we had court cases many times. And I've reported from courts, the Old Bailey, the Royal Courts of Justice. I've reported several times from this court, courts in Luton, courts in Peterborough. I've probably when I say 20 times, it's probably about right. And that's just in the UK. I've reported in courts in Canada many times. So this is very unusual. And I think it started when a BBC reporter tattled to the court, which is very snitch-like, very weird for a state broadcaster to also look like a state, I don't know, police service. But I was able to present my credentials from Canada to the judge and show him that I am a credentialed journalist. By the way, I don't really believe in credentials. Journalism is not a profession like medicine or law. It's an activity that anyone can do. But the judge did respect my credentials, and I sat with the other credentialed journalists until the judge left the room, in which time the clerk said, "You got to go." I said, "There's extra seats here." They said, "No, you're not allowed." And I was going to hold my ground and talk to the judge, but then a security guard came and put their hand on me, and I thought, this is going the way of physical force, and I don't need that. So I yielded. But it was an education for me that censorship and general bullshit is still alive here in the UK.
And of course, they originally threatened that some of your comments from yesterday that got over 8 million views were obstructing justice. Do you believe that in the judiciary here in the UK, they have a certain bias towards left-leaning legacy news media?
Yeah, I mean, I read all the regime journalist coverage, and they use hyperbolic claims and derogatory terms to describe Tommy Robinson. I simply use critical words to describe the prosecutor and the police, who I think ought to have a thick skin. So I guess you can deeply criticize Tommy, but not the police hounding Tommy. Listen, I accepted the judge's instructions. Listen, I'm a guest in the court. The judge is the boss of the court. And he did grant me my request, by the way. But I'm sort of disgusted by the BBC. They truly are living down to the term state broadcasting.
And lastly, do you think there's some space for independent journalism when covering courts? Of course, Tommy's also had issues with what is the definition of journalism here in the UK. The only real thing in terms of credentials are unions. And even then, legally speaking, that is not baked within the definition of journalism. So what do you think the UK should do going forward when it comes to independent journalism?
Well, look, people have already left the mainstream media en masse. They've just voted with their eyeballs. They get their news from other places. And the courts can pretend that's not happening, and they can pretend that only regime journalists are the only ones that count. But they're wrong. They're choosing the dinosaurs. They should come to terms with the fact that citizen journalism is real, it's growing, it's large, and people trust it, or at least some people trust it that don't trust the regime journalists. I don't trust the BBC. Am I not allowed to have a reporter in court reflecting my view? I had 8.5 million views of my live tweets yesterday morning. Those are 8.5 million people who chose to consume my journalism rather than the regimes. So if you're going to cut that off, you're cutting off transparency, you're cutting off the British people. That's not healthy. So I think the courts have to realize it's 2025, not 1995.
Well, I think that's the thing, is they do know it's 2025. And Tommy Robinson is a journalist. He used to work for Rebel News. He's a journalist. They're aware of the power of Tommy Robinson, right? Yes, he transcends that title. You know, he is a genuine leader, but yeah, they're aware and they're scared of it and they don't like it. Right. So you just see all of this collusion between, the establishment forces, and they're all the same everywhere. They will take as much as they can take. We're seeing the exact same thing happening in Canada. Right. I would not be surprised if they just shut down Rebel News, if the Carney regime just shuts down Rebel News. They're passing these bills for a reason, right? Like, Carney has achieved nothing. He's had a couple of small little bills passed. The main focus is these censorship bills, these totalitarianism bills, C2, C8, C9, and we haven't even gotten to, the resurrected Bill C63 yet, the one with the future crimes, where some activist judge can decide that you might do a hate online in the future, so you need 12 months of house arrest. And that's not even the worst part of that bill. There's a reason why they're changing the definition of hatred. in law in Canada into this nebulous thing. There's a reason why they're passing bills where they can just kick Ezra Levant off the internet, and nobody can know why. He can't know why. They don't have to say why. They can just do it. And in the language of the bill itself, for any reason, there's a reason why all this is happening. It is a tsunami of dystopian legislation coming down. And yeah, Bill C-63 is going to be resurrected. We know that. That's going to be coming back. The human rights tribunals where your neighbor can decide to turn you in over something you put on the internet 10 years ago that they're offended by. And with the promise that the Human Rights Tribunal, which has about a 99% conviction rate, because it's not even a real court with no real evidentiary rules and certainly no presumption of innocence, it's a far left kangaroo court. Yeah, and with the promise of you having to pay that person who's going to remain forever anonymous $20,000 for the thing you posted 10 years ago. Plus $50,000 for the government, of course, because they've got to get the lion's share of it. There's a reason why all this is happening, and it's not because they want to keep Canadians safe. Whenever they're talking about safety, they're talking about their own safety and the safety of their own power. It's all freaking insane. I mean, I allowed myself to become optimistic before the last election, and I will never overestimate the character of the Canadian voter ever again. I'm not talking about all, but, we had, the kind of consolidation of the leftist vote. The NDP lost half, more than half of their voters went to the Liberals. I think in large part just to prevent a conservative government. So that's the last time I will be overly confident or the last time I will be overly confident or overestimate the Canadian voter. All right, so let's move on. Let's see. All right, let's move on. What do we got next? Here's Pierre Poilievre. So, from Can't Be Censored. So, this is the new podcast with Travis Donraj with his co-host. But this is a new podcast, and this here is Travis Donraj, who was a CBC host who quit. There's allegations from him of censorship and bias, obvious bias, political partisanship at the CBC. He's suing them right now, by the way. But he started up his own podcast called Can't Be Censored with a co-host. Get it? Can't Be Censored CBC. And here he is interviewing now Kevin O'Leary. And generally, I quite like Kevin O'Leary. But this is a terrible take on Pierre Poilievre. A terrible take. And I will explain to you why it is so terrible after we watch this.
He has told us that they made significant gains.
So talking about the last election, Pierre Poilievre got the most votes for the Conservative Party, the biggest share of the vote in 40 years, right? A huge improvement. The problems with it were is that you had about 10% of the NDP vote flee to the Liberals. I think it was to try and prevent the Conservatives from winning. But in any case, let's watch.
With demographics that they weren't necessarily successful for years. You sound like a CEO I recently whacked.
Perfect.
You either win or you lose.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I don't give a shit what the excuse is. You had a mandate, you failed, you get whacked. That's how it's a very Darwinian world that way. And I'm sorry, politics is even worse. The excuses don't matter. What matters is you either won or you lost. Period.
Yeah, trendsetter. Whoa.
So by this logic, Trump shouldn't have run in 2024. No, there are factors especially in politics. Like, yes, I'm absolutely self-accountability, right? But in there are, like, if you're on your way to a meeting, you left 2 hours early, you're going to get there an hour early, you really want to be there early, and you get hit by a meteorite, okay? That's an excuse, okay? In that case, that's an excuse. In politics, like, again, by his logic, Trump never should have run in 2024. No excuses. You just lost. You win or you lose, and that's it. No, Pierre Poilievre had the entire media establishment, the media machine against him. He still did the best of any conservative in 40 years. He was close. They were close. He didn't lose by 20 points, lost by 1.5 points, right? The liberal voters, it turns out, were going to vote liberal. That's what was going to happen. And a large portion, I think with 10 points of the NDP vote from the previous election went to the Liberals. I think just a consolidation to prevent Pierre Poilievre from winning, because there have been also incredibly deranged about Pierre Poilievre by the media. So, yeah, I think this is a terrible take, a terrible take. You have to factor in the brainwashing, the indoctrination, the constant framing, positive or negative, depending on whether it's liberal or conservative. I think you have to take these things into consideration. It's not fair to just say you win or you lose. Well, okay, but if one side has a massive, massive advantage over you and still you get damn close, that says something. So, yeah, I don't like this take. I think this is just I think it's an ignorant take. I have to be honest. And again, by his logic, Trump shouldn't have run again in 2024. Should have just said, no, he failed. You win or you lose. He didn't win. So no excuses, by the way. No excuses. So yeah, I'm not buying his take on it. Let's see. This is from a few days ago. Poilievre today, you need to take home more of your pay, and that's why conservatives want to cut your income tax. Okay, well, let's just take a look at this. What is he saying here? Pierre Poilievre has, it's not fantastical, utopian, ideological stuff. It's just pragmatic common sense. This is his tool. Canadians had better get a liking for pragmatic, reasonable, common sense solutions soon. Let's see.
For the Conservatives, Pierre Poilievre is in Richmond Hill, Ontario, just outside Toronto, touting his government's plans to cut taxes and let Canadian workers take home more pay.
We have a common sense plan as Conservatives for stronger take-home pay. That means unlocking our resources to build more projects that will employ our people. It means producing more oil and gas. You need to take home more of your pay. And that's why Conservatives want to cut your income tax, so that of every dollar you earn, you bring home more of that dollar. We're going to end all taxes on home building. Right now, the single biggest cost for a new home is taxes. If we got rid of the taxes, the average home would be about $200,000 less across Canada.
So again, it's not sexy. It's just common sense and pragmatic. And, regardless of how much the CBC will say that simply offering different perspectives on policy is divisive and MAGA, right? The constant negative framing over just normal politics when it comes to Pierre Poilievre. No matter how much they do that, Canadians at some point, enough Canadians at some point have to wake up and say, yeah, let's just do like the normal thing that like normal countries do to be successful. Let's just do those, right? Like, we don't need any more utopian ideals, right? Let's just do the normal thing because, it's getting pretty bad. So let's just try the normal stuff, the stuff that makes sense. Denny, how you doing? Good to see you over on YouTube. Good evening to you. Good evening to you. Let's see. What else is everybody else saying? Now, let's take a look. Trudeau Survivor says, Ezra kind of reminds me of Nick Fuentes. Not his beliefs, just more stature and demeanor. I've seen a couple of clips of Nick Fuentes. I haven't seen much, but I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. Trudeau Survivor says Kevin tried to run for conservative leader and couldn't hack it. That's right, he did, didn't he? I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. He shouldn't be talking trash. Well, again, I just think it's a kind of a dumb one-dimensional take, to be honest. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says O'Leary sounds like he's on his period and just got done reading Eat, Pray, Love. I mean, normally I quite like that attitude. It's a very much a personal accountability attitude, right? But I'm not I'm not an absolutist in anything. I'm not an idealist. I'm a pragmatist, right? And so, I'm not an extremist in any way. And yeah, there are factors you have to consider. There just are, right? I mean, you know, the media loves to describe the last election as Pierre Poilievre had this massive lead and he blew it. No, you look at the polling and the very high, the 40-year high conservative support held firm. It basically was like more or less, it's a few ups and downs, but it really was stable over the course of the whole election. What happened is that the second that Justin Trudeau stepped down, all the liberals that wanted to vote liberal but didn't want to vote for Trudeau, but most of them still would have voted for him, by the way, because they've been so deranged by mainstream media in Canada against the Conservatives. But they immediately, if you look at the polls, it just goes straight back up as soon as you get Carney. Didn't know anything about him. When he announced 1 in 10 Canadians could have recognized him from a photo, if that. Nobody knew who he was. They just knew that he wasn't Trudeau. And they knew that the CBC, well, actually, they didn't know this, but they felt the effects of CBC having negatively framed everything Pierre Poilievre for years. And that's what happened, right? That's what happened. Poilievre didn't lose a bunch of support. No, he held steady at a 4-decade high in support. It was the forces around him. And look, you try running against the machine. Machine's powerful, right? If you've got all of the mainstream media behind you, everything on the TV behind you, certainly, I mean, who's the biggest demographic for CBC, Global News, CTV News? It's boomers now. Boomers went big for Carney. Why? Because their brains are plugged into Rosemary Barton's teleprompter. That has power. That does matter. Let's see. Izzy says they're scared of Pierre Poilievre. Yeah, they should be. They should be. I mean, we'll have to see what happens in the next election. I know the polling has turned around. The polling has turned around. The last, actually, Nanos poll, which always has an advantage for the Liberals, actually had, if you break it out into seats, actually the Conservatives would win a minority government. But again, I mean, we don't know when the next election is going to be. Probably not for 3 years, right? A long time. Looks like the NDP is just going to keep propping up Carney like they did with Trudeau. But, a lot can change, But where was I going with that? Let me reread that. So, yeah, I mean, the question for me is Canada just San Francisco now? Is Canada New York? Right? So there's no bottom, or the bottom is of the, is so far down that you can't even see it yet. Like, things have to get really unimaginably bad before enough people will say, okay, I guess I was wrong. Or, okay, well, I guess, just going even further left won't solve everything. I guess maybe the problem wasn't that we just didn't go far enough left. I don't know. Canada might just be San Francisco or LA. I hope not. I'm not being blackpilled or trying to blackpill anybody, but I don't know. I mean, like, look, what explains San Francisco? What explains California or New York? Anyway, let's Spambot, how you doing? Good to see you. Everybody's joining late tonight. So, God. From the Elevate podcast, obviously this is a funny hot mic moment, but I do feel this moment perfectly displays that Trump truly did want Carney as PM over anyone else. Just two bros cracking jokes. Well, he did have connections with the Trumps through Brookfield. He did business with Jared Kushner. He seems to love Trump. He seems to love Trump. I mean, he said that Trump was really mean and bad and stuff, and our relationship with the states is over in the campaign. But he seems to genuinely, he seems to be really into Trump. Let's watch.
So you going back? No, I'll go back. I'm glad you upgraded me to president.
Oh, did I say? Great stuff.
It's good. I started.
We said in
Great stuff.
That was great.
So you going back? No, I'll go back. I'm glad you upgraded me to president.
Oh, did I say? Great stuff.
It's good. I started.
We said in Great stuff.
Just two bros cracking jokes. Well, I guess Trump mistakenly called Carney president. I guess Carney felt flattered because he didn't get governor. And he said there, I'm glad you upgraded me to president. Just two bros hanging out. Carney loves Trump. He loves him. He loves Trump. It's the love that dare not get lower steel and aluminum tariffs or softwood lumber tariffs. That's the kind of love he feels for Trump. That's the kind of love he feels for Trump. Yeah, I don't know. This isn't what he was sold as. This is not what he sold himself as. When liberal voters watch this, do they just seamlessly transition to, it's great, actually, he's best friends with Trump now? Because when it was elbows up, he was supposed to elbow Trump in the face, just like a hockey player does in the corners, right? That's why it was so cool. That's why it was so cool when the same people who brought us Canada is the first post-national country, and it's not even really a country, and there's no core identity, and it's an illegitimate genocide state. Yeah, the same people who brought us elbows up. And if you don't say elbows up, you're a traitor to the country, and you're not patriotic. So those same people who fell for that incredibly childish, lowest common denominator trick, cynical political ploy, probably just seamlessly transitioned into, oh, it's awesome that Carney and Trump are best friends. Carney's doing reverse psychology. My liberal arts degree told me that. Let's see. Let's Spambot. Funny, I joined mentioning California. Oh, okay. I was listening to some Dead Kennedys on my way home. Uber Alles California was on, and I was getting out of the vehicle. What was that one? Something Holiday in Cambodia or something? What is it? The Dead Kennedys song? I can't remember any other ones. Cambodia, blah, 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 blah. I can't remember. You'll have to tell me, Spambot. Trudeau Survivor says, I want hearts over Carney's head. He loves him so much. I'll remember that for a thumbnail, though. I'll put some hearts over at Carney's head as he's gazing longingly at Donald J. Trump. Transformational leader. Well, Trump actually is. And I think that Carney envies him for that. Although Trump is transformational in a good way, as opposed to a horrific, awful, prosperity destroying way that Carney is. Let's not forget Carney wrote his book Values, and that was published in 2022. That wasn't just from some naive youth. Here he is here. Hey, he's old here. What is he saying? Here is Carney before he was PM. So this isn't very long before he was PM. I wonder if he magically changed his ideas on anything he says here. Let's see.
Target, if I can use that.
Would it be inevitable
And
that
they
people
pull it
would go
forward.
to the wall as a result of it?
Look, companies that don't adapt, including companies in the financial system, will go bankrupt without question. But also, there will be great fortunes made along this path, aligned with what society wants. And so, provided that not just the objective is put in place, but some of the climate policies continue to be put in place, not by us, by others, we will have the financial system ready to amplify the effectiveness of those policies and move the country forward. And, last thing, and I think it's sometimes.
So I think what he's saying is that those so this is before he was prime minister. This is when he was with Brookfield. So the companies that don't go along with the net zero boondoggle will be forced out of business, but the ones who do go along with it will make huge fortunes, and they won't be doing. Again, he's not prime minister here. It'll be the politicians that are forcing this, right? So forcing what? Forcing these subsidies that the public will be forced to pay and mortgage their futures for, so that the green companies and like Mark Carney's ESG fund can make vast fortunes. It's actually not that complicated.
What's undersold here is that the UK is at the forefront, and the UK, by demonstrating that it can make these adjustments, will encourage others to come along with it.
Governor Carney, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and by encourage, he means force. Force. That old central planner, Mark Carney. All right. Let's go back here for a second. Let's see. Is the chat starting to heat up a little bit? Been waiting for that. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, Trump is thinking about Israel, Russia, economy, Antifa, etc. Carney is thinking, thank God Trump didn't call me governor. He was thinking that. Spabbot, holiday in Cambodia. That's what I was thinking. Thank you. It was on the Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables album. Thank you, Spabbot. I was never, I was aware of them, and I heard a couple of the songs, but I was never a Dead Kennedys guy. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says it's sizzling in here. It is sizzling in here. All right, let's move on, people. Now what are we talking about? Let's go to Chicago. Let's see. From Johnny Maga. J.B. Pritzker is now threatening to prosecute ICE agents under the next Democrat president. It says he's trying to find ways to do it now in Illinois. He is a Bolshevik. He looks like a normal politician, but he is a Bolshevik. The Bolsheviks look like normal Russians, right? Before and during and after the, a Bolshevik seizure of power. He looks like a normal politician, but he's not. He's a Bolshevik. He is an insurrectionary Bolshevik. Trump didn't come out with a bunch of sweeping new legislation, a bunch of sweeping new border laws. It's just the laws that already existed that were enacted through the democratic processes that everybody has to live by, right? He's not ruling by edict, right? His campaign said, we don't need some bullshit. We don't need some, bipartisan border bill to do anything, a border bill that'll just make illegal immigration legal. We just need to use the existing law. And Trump did that, and he had it shut down within a few weeks. He didn't need sweeping new edicts. He didn't need, he just enforced the law that's already existing. That's what this guy is literally rebelling against, insurrecting against. This man looks like a normal Democrat politician from 20 years ago. He is a Bolshevik. The tables will turn someday. Well, it's funny. People were saying that during the Biden administration. Remember what was happening then? Remember what was happening then, J.B. Pritzker? Remember that? An important part of being in the left now is that every morning history has to be made a blank slate anew every single morning. And then you just, write in the parts that are convenient, politically expedient for you. It's that whole, he who controls the past thing from 1984. Let's take a look.
The tables will turn someday. These people should recognize that maybe they're not going to get prosecuted today, although.
The tables did turn. They did turn. They turned. Remember what you guys were doing during the Biden administration? Do you remember that? They have turned. But again, you have to pretend like history is written anew every morning if you want to be on the left these days.
We're looking at doing that. But they may get prosecuted after the Trump administration for the things that they did because the statute of limitations won't have run. We had the immigration services, the ICE and CBP doing their jobs before the Trump administration, but they were doing it.
Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. The whole point is that they weren't being used to enforce existing law, right? It was just an arbitrary use of the law for political purposes. Just the lying. It's just, I guess this guy's the perfect politician. I guess he's just perfect.
Within the law. Now they're acting like a bunch of thugs and taking away people's free speech rights. They're taking away people's rights, by not identifying themselves. They're coming in with masks on. They're coming in with unidentified vehicles. These are all things that need to be taken up again by an inspector general or somebody investigating at the federal level because they have immunity.
So who's he working for? Is he working for the people of Chicago, of Illinois? Who's he working for? It doesn't sound like he's working for Americans. Sounds like he's working for somebody else.
At the state level, but we're looking at how we might be able to hold them responsible despite the fact of federal immunity. The tables will turn someday. These people.
It's just amazing. The tables will turn someday. Yeah, they have turned. They have. And history didn't start yesterday. Unbelievable. What you're experiencing now is the tables turned. But instead of what was happening under the Biden administration, right? Now it's actually, everything is actually legal. The law isn't being enforced arbitrarily. That's the difference. When they say democracy, they mean totalitarianism. I think that's what they mean. When they say fascism, they mean democracy, right? Every word has been redefined for them. So when they say fascism, just assume they mean democracy. That's what they really mean. And when they talk about their democracy, assume they're talking about totalitarianism, because that seems to be the case. Oh, hold on. What's going on here? Look at this. Leftist chants at Cam Higbee calling him Timu Charlie Kirk, while a leftist woman does a finger guns at his neck. Jesus. Say, this is, like, who is she? She's not like a crazy homeless person. It's scary. Like, this is not, it's not the fringe, the fringe left isn't fringe. It's actually pretty mainstream in the left now. Like, look at her. Who is she? Absolutely crazy.
Timu Charlie Kirk, 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 Timu Charlie Kirk.
Extremism is mainstream in the left now. Extremism is mainstream. It's quite, the mask is off. The mask is off for the left. All right. From Media Lies, Secretary Bassett revealed just what all the IRS is looking at in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's not looking good for those who deny the existence of far-left groups like Antifa. Let's see. If they've got merch, they're probably not just an idea. Let's take a look.
I want to play a clip here that's really important because you're working on a very important piece of this. And I wish we had more time for this. So let's just get right into it. 136.
Let me tell you something I've not shared with anybody, but the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his creator in heaven was he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country that are fomenting violence. That was the last message that he sent me before that assassin stole him from all of us.
So that is a powerful clip. Stephen Miller said something similar when JD hosted the show on the Monday after he was assassinated. And Treasury, I come to find out, coming to D.C., that Treasury has taken an active role in an aspect of this dismantling of the financial networks that are supporting some of these radical left violent groups. Share with what you can. I know it's an ongoing process.
So it's an ongoing process, and I will tell you that after 9/11, Treasury became the driving force behind tracking down the networks of terrorist organizations, how they were financed, how could this have happened on U.S. soil with these international terrorist organizations? Where did the money come from? Who were the ultimate funders? And that was on the international side. And Andrew, I will tell you that Charlie's death is like a domestic 9/11, that we are going to find. It has alerted us to what Charlie knew, that these organizations are working within our borders. And look, we believe people have a right to free speech. They have a right to organize. They have a right to protest, but they have to do it peacefully. They cannot embrace violence. And we have seen it. We've seen it since the terrible day 2 years ago, the anti-Semitism and the bias that came out after October 7th, 2023. And many of these organizations have been financed by nonprofits, and it's going to stop. And we are going to, as they always say, follow the money. When you see these groups where all the signs match, they have hundreds of the same umbrellas that they're using. After they cause the mayhem, they have the same lasers that they're using to blind our police force. How are they constructed? Because this takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of organization, and we are going to do that. We have started to compile lists, put together networks, and there's a long record here, and we don't.
As they follow the money, they will find the leaders of these supposedly leaderless group. Yeah, there's groups in different cities, Rose City, Antifa in Portland. There's New York one. There's chapters all over the place, right? Loosely connected. But as they follow the money, I think they're going to find that it's not quite so leaderless as that we've been led to believe. Let's see. The Democrats have been instructed to pretend they have never heard of Antifa. Here is Keith Ellison claiming he doesn't know what Antifa is. In 2018, he tweeted a picture of his copy of the Antifa Terror Handbook. Well, here he is. Moon Palace Books. I just found the book that strikes fear in the heart of real Donald Trump. Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook. And the guy who wrote this, who's also allegedly a Antifa financier, fled the country because he's definitely not a leader. Let's see. What's Keith Ellison saying now?
So the fact that there is nobody even knows what it is. The first person I ever heard use the word Antifa was Donald J. Trump when he was going on about how there were good people on both sides in Charlottesville. That's the first time I ever heard anyone use the term.
Yet there he is. There he is with the book. With the book. There he is. First time he ever heard the term. Liars. Liars, liars, liars. All that matters is power. That's it. And they will burn down their own civilization to get it. Here it is, Antifa funding exposed from Antifa's own mouth. We did get a grant from Soros, huh? So NDZ, national organizer of Refuse Fascism. Right now, I don't know if we took the meeting today, We're meeting with his main advisor on impeachment. Let's take a look. So this is from Project Veritas.
We did apply for a grant from Soros at one point a long time ago. We actually did get a grant from them. There is going to be a need for thousands of people and then millions to come into the streets.
We're trying to become Steyer. We've been talking to his assistant. We're meeting with his main advisor on impeachment. He has political ambitions that he may actually want to not be directly connected. In Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, this at a certain point dominates the national news. It's very disruptive.
Last week, we released video of New York Antifa-like group Refuse Fa, short for Refuse Fascism, training people how to poke people's eyes out and reframing assault as self-defense.
Yeah, so you have to knock them out, then you have the nose, the eyes, poke the eyes with the other way. We just kind of want to...
They don't seem to be doing very well with the hand-to-hand combat thing. I think we've seen. Hold on a second. Hold on. I did want to show you something that we had. So here, this guy. This is the guy who wrote the Antifa handbook. And he's fled the country. So I don't know. I guess because he's definitely not a leader, I guess. Right? Yeah. So it looks like Trump is very, very serious. White House releases names funding Antifa protests and violence in America. We paid for our own protests with over 100 million laundered by Democrats. Well, let's take a look at this.
That this is not just a story about violence and chaos, as you alluded to, Mr. President. This is a money story. And at the Government Accountability Institute, my colleague and I, Peter Schweitzer and our team, we followed the money, and we followed it to the top of what we call the protest industrial complex, Riot Inc. And we found a network of NGOs. It's not just the Soros network, the Open Society network. It's other funding networks, the Arabella funding network, the Tides funding network, Neville Roy Singham and his network, Foreign Cash. And it's also big left-wing funders. Some of them are not citizens of this country. Mr. Hans-Jörg Wyss of Switzerland. They're pouring money into this entire ecosystem. And so I want to share 3 money facts with you about what we call Riot Inc. Number one, like any corporation, Riot Inc. has many divisions. It doesn't just have the Antifa boots on the ground division. It has PR divisions. It has marketing divisions. It has a very well-funded legal division to get these boots on the ground back on the streets as quickly as possible. But it does have those investors that I mentioned. Number two, we have identified dozens of radical organizations, not just the decentralized Antifa organizations, but dozens of radical organizations that have received more than $100 million from the Riot Inc. investors. These would be the lawyer groups. These would be the groups that advocate for calling good, honest Americans fascists, et cetera. And then 3, I think the most shocking thing is that we have found that more than $100 million in U.S. taxpayer funding has flowed into these funding networks, including at least $4 million to these very groups themselves, not just Antifa types, but...
So, I mean, this is to pay for lawyers, right? So after they've been arrested for, throwing a Molotov cocktail or a bomb or something like that, right? Absolutely crazy. Hold on one second. Want to show you one more thing, and then we're going to leave this topic. Where is it? Okay. Where is it? Oh, I want to go back to Glenn Beck, actually. But there was one other thing here I wanted to... Where is it? Let me restart this. Refresh this. Okay. Well, let's go to Glenn Beck, because the FBI visited him, actually, after he did a segment on Antifa. And they're doing their research and their due diligence.
Last week, I did a TV show that apparently got the FBI's attention. The topic was initial investigation, a jumping off point, shattering the myth that Antifa just, it's just leaderless and decentralized. We thought, no, it's really not. So we dove in headfirst and we analyzed the Antifa network, and we went from the street thugs to the support groups, eventually to the funding. Okay. To say the FBI was interested in this might be an understatement. Let's just say the FBI is turning over every single stone. It is so clear to me that they are exploring all angles of this, and they are talking to anyone and everyone that can give them any kind of information. How do I know? Saturday, I get a phone call. The director would like to send over some agents to speak to you, Glenn. And I'm like, the direct FBI agents? Yes, you said some things that they need to talk to you about. And I'm like, well, good things or bad? They'll be over. So they sat in my living, 3 agents sat in my living room on Saturday afternoon for almost 2 hours. And I immediately called Jason. I'm like, Jason, you're the researcher. It's your fault. I'm going to throw you under the bus. You better get your butt over here. So Jason was there, and my wife and Jason and I sat there, and it was surreal at one point. I talked to him for about 15 minutes just going over the Tides Foundation and saying, if you understand Tides, you'll understand how difficult your job is going to be. And this is information that I first gave on Fox years ago. Let me just say this. Finally, we have an administration and an FBI director that is willing to go in deep, not surface, but deep. I can only imagine what we could have avoided if anyone in an administration would have done this in 2011. But if I were in that imaginary group of Antifa, which, by the way, has imaginary leaders leaving the country to go maybe to imaginary countries outside of the U.S. right now, I would be very concerned. If I were part of anything that was sending money their way or assistance their way, I don't know. I might be a little concerned because the FBI is dead ass serious. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Donald Trump, Kash Patel, and all of the agents at the FBI.
So, yeah, I've been saying for a while. I think they're very serious about it. And, yeah, they're going to follow the money. And I think when they follow the money, they're going to find out it's not quite as leaderless as, Aaron Burnett on CNN would like you to believe, or her teleprompter would like you to believe. There's money coming, and there's money. It goes from, like Soros, people like that, goes to NGOs, and then it funnels down to other nonprofits, and it goes to lawyers, ends up going to lawyers to keep Antifa thugs out of prison. It goes for PR. I'm sure it goes to, I would not be at all surprised to learn that it's going to fund journalists who write pro Antifa and just pro generally, Bolshevik stuff in general. So this will all be uncovered, though. They're going to go through this, and they're going to uncover it. And I think it's a fine thing. It's a fine thing. I mean, look, if you've got a website, if you've got like an email address for people to join and enroll, this sort of thing, you've got merch, right? There are lawyers that are just there to protect you. You're a bit past idea at that point. All right, everybody subscribe wherever you are. I've got something here for just the YouTube people because it's just on YouTube. I have a new channel. Everything goes on the Rumble channel. Don't you guys worry. But on YouTube, there's a new channel, Radio Baloney News. It's like a month old. I need you guys to go there and subscribe because the YouTube algorithm will not help me out with this. So this is where all of the U.S. news, the world news, the meme reviews, woke mind virus stuff, it's all going here now. The channel you're watching right now is just for live streams and Canadian news. If you want all of my beautiful stories about the best stories about J.K. Rowling versus Woke Canada and the Vancouver Park and Recreations Board, you can go there. Guess what? Even the Vancouver Parks and Recreation Board is woke. Ugh. It's just gross. All of this. You got Pete Hegseth here. You got meme reviews. Those are flying off the shelves, let me tell you. CNN host destroyed. It's beautiful stuff. You're going to love it. It's a featured channel on the homepage for the channel you're watching right now. Please go there. YouTube will cry. There'll be a purple-haired gremlin working somewhere in YouTube that will cry every time you subscribe. All right, let's get back to the chat. Let's get back to my beautiful chat. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, Trump never said Antifa about Charlottesville. I'm 99.999% sure. I think you're right, actually. I think he just threw that in there. I think that Ellison just threw that in there. Spambot says, and he makes a great point, the left isn't fringe. They are openly communists. Yes, I mean, that's the point, right? Like, the fringe is just the mainstream in the left now. What we would have called the fringe in the past is now just the mainstream. Trudeau Survivor says about J.B. Pritzker that he looks like a human paperweight, and I think he nailed it. Let's see, what else we got going on here? Spambot Fodder says, every time Richie says Bolshevik, you must imbibe. Are you playing drinking games now? Playing drinking games on Radio Baloney Live every time I say Bolshevik? I just said it twice, by the way. That's 2 shots right there. Spambot says, I will be loaded before my change window at this rate. I know, but you love it. And you're just looking for a reason to drink. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's see. Let's see. Spambot Fodder says, U.S. and Canada politics is worse than a scary movie. I think I would rather watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the Donald Sutherland one, and Carrie on loop than listen to any leftist politician. It's just all lies now. It's just all lies. And you have to wonder at what point, like in Canada, for instance, at what point, because for 10 years, as the country's been flushed down the toilet, all we've heard from liberals is that, you watch Parliament, for instance, and it's just a liberal stands up and goes, no, everything's great. No, we're doing a great job. And apparently that's enough. It's worked now for 4 elections in a row where all they have to do is just stand up and say, oh, no, everything's great. No, we're doing a great job. And that's enough. That's terrifying. That's scarier than any horror movie. Speaking of those 2 movies, Spambot Fodder informs us, they are part of Billy Von Baum's Freitober month movie playlist on MGTOW TV. Very well. Well, thank you very much. Spambot says Alberta Teachers Union is going to be investigated for fraud. They are not providing strike pay for Alberta unionized teachers. Well, that's interesting. It seems like they were offered a pretty good deal by, I think it was 12% over 3 years. Offered a pretty good deal by Danielle Smith, and maybe it's just an ideological thing. I don't know. Trudeau Survivor says, strange how workers considered essential are allowed to strike. Well, that's an excellent point there that Trudeau Survivor makes. Valued member of our community. All right, what do we got going on now? What's this? All right, so we got an issue in Canada now. China says that they'll take off the canola tariffs and the seafood tariffs, which is billions of dollars a year for Canada, by the way, because they put 100% tariffs on those industries. They'll remove those if we remove the 100% tariff on electric cars. And, one way of thinking about it is that, well, I mean, that just makes sense, right? I mean, like, it's not like the electric car market in Canada is unless it's forced on people, is actually not that big. I am going to show you this picture here. You're seeing is a Chinese EV, allegedly, according to this. But it's a Chinese EV that locked the doors and burned the driver alive in the car. So there's that. There's also the issue of major security problem, security vulnerability for Canada to have a bunch of electric cars, because they're all like hooked up to China, servers in China, right? That's also a problem. I don't know what to do in this case. I do know that I don't want to be burned alive in my car because the car caught on fire and then the car locked the doors on me so I couldn't get out. I don't want that big time. And I'd be worried if I was those guys, I'd be worried that the car was going to explode. And they're, kudos to those guys. I don't think it worked though, unfortunately. So there's that. I don't know. Here's some of the huge, kind of massive place, I guess EV graveyards in China. They'll be sending these things over. They got like weeds growing out like inside the cars and stuff. They've been sitting there for so long and probably not very well made, really. Yeah. They'll be shipping those right over, I'm sure. So I don't know. All I know is that sometimes we got to have some memes. I love American news. What's going on here? Your dog isn't vegan and your child isn't trans. That's words of wisdom from Marcus Aurelius. A very admirable Stoic Marcus Aurelius. And I think his logic is sound here. Your dog isn't vegan and your child isn't trans. And this period will be looked back upon as incredibly barbaric and insane. That's if there's any sanity in the future, I guess. Let's see. Black Betty posted this. When you spill the fluoride before you can put it in the water supply. So I don't know if that's actually fluoride there. I know that there are some countries that don't use fluoride in the water. I know there are concerns. I know that too much of it is definitely very bad for you, can cause brain damage, all kinds of things. I'm on well water, so I don't know. I guess you guys are on your own. I wish people would just get along, Snoopy. Communists aren't people, Charlie Brown. Well, that's a spicy one. That's one take. That's one perspective right there. Let's see. What's going on here? Says here, people should credit Trump for what he's achieved so far. Hopefully, he will broker a lasting peace deal. So who posted this? Jay Stewart. Okay. Let's see. Gaza peace deal announced in major victory for the Trump administration. And let's see, they're in Gaza, please work. And then here, let's see, privileged, blue-haired leftist gremlin is absolutely mortified. Please fail, she says, because she'll have to come up with a new flag. I mean, does she want to have to recycle one of the old flags? I don't know. That's going to be tough on her. She's invested so much time online to this cause. What's going on here? Let's see. Free Palestine. Just did. Just did. Free Palestine. Just did. And then angry. No, because it was never about freeing Palestine. It was never about that. It's never the issue. It's always the revolution. Now they got to find a new thing. Again, after spending so much time, so much effort online on Blue Sky. Let's see. Destroy America. I won't be part of your system. So this is like an Antifa guy with an all-tough cocktail there. Pretty angry. Okay, buddy, into the minivan you go. You can't do this to me. I'm an American. Oh, that's what they do. Well, you see, they use the system against you. So they'll use like anything good against good, right? That's the way they operate. These are revolutionary communists. You want to burn everything down. But they're willing to use your own decency against you. And yeah, I think we know that now. Let's see, who posted this? Church sermons. Let's see. Antifa is not an organization. We just have a flag, uniforms, official colors, local chapters, meeting places, email signups, and clear directives for members. But not an organization. It's just an idea. Don't forget, it's just an idea. Erin Burnett on CNN. Her teleprompter said that. So it must be true. It's a Jim Jacks. Let's see. What is all this stuff? Well, this can't be real. Governor J.B. Pritzker, no one should be above the law. Joe Biden, no one is above the law, I guess, except for like all of his family. Except all of his family. Apparently the only, what I've heard is the only pardon he actually personally signed, not with the auto pen, but personally signed was for Hunter. Amy Klobuchar, in the United States of America, no one is above the law. Mark Hamill, no one is above the law. See, Chuck Schumer, no one is above the law. See, the thing is with the left now is that this no longer exists. All of this has just evaporated into the ether, because to be in the left now, every morning, history has to start off a blank slate anew every single morning. And then you just write whatever history you like on there, whatever is politically expedient. So that to them, none of this even exists anymore. That never happened. Let's see. I Love America posted this. I don't watch CNN for the same reason. I don't drink out of the toilet. Well, it's because, what happens with the toilet? That's where the poo goes, right? The poo goes into the toilet. Let's see. And let's see what goes onto the CNN airwaves. What comes out of the teleprompter and then out of the CNN host's mouth? I think it's poo. That's what I'm going to say. So that's why. Just full of germs, poo germs. Let's see. Trump could rescue a drowning child from the ocean, and Democrats would accuse him of starving the sharks. Well, they would. They would. It's just predictable at this point. Utterly predictable. Let's see. So who posted this? Planet of Memes. A friendly reminder from Democrat women to get your prostate exam. There's nothing more important for a modern woman than a prostate exam. You have to do it. You have to do it. All of you need to get that prostate exam. It's the modern woman's best friend. Let's see. Oh, we already did this one last time. Tinder. There's the picture. And the reality, it's just Lemmy. It was Lemmy the whole time. Lemmy from Motorhead. See, he used a filter. And it's for this, Man, can you imagine how disappointed you'd be? You think you're showing up and it's this, and then you show up and it's just Lemmy. It's Lemmy. He's got his short shorts on, so he probably means business. Best to get the hell out of there. Fast. I mean, it'd be awesome to hang out with Lemmy. He's not with us anymore, but not if it's, he's expecting something because it was a Tinder date. Even if he's wearing the short shorts, So, yeah, anyway. That was, life is terrible. Terrible. There's no hope, I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, there's no hope. All right, except for this. Let's see. I don't know. What are you guys talking about? You know what? I'm sorry to do this to you guys. I got to take another break for a couple of minutes. I've been drinking coffee to keep myself going. I got to take another break. All right. Quickly before I go, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the new channel, Radio Baloney News. Go do it. YouTube's not going to help you. And YouTube doesn't want you to subscribe. So just put a stick in YouTube's eye and subscribe to it. You'll feel so proud of yourself. It's going to be awesome. All right. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Everybody subscribe and like the stream. It's a super big deal. Everybody loves it. Rosie, good to see you. JJ, good to see you. Finally, everybody's showing up. You know, like the first 20 minutes, there was just like Izzy and Trudeau Survivor in the chat. And you'll never believe what Trudeau Survivor said. I was like, where the hell is everyone? And he said, they're all dead. That's what he said. I was like, hey, man, that's not cool, right? You're scaring me now. And I'm in the house by myself. But then, I'm always expecting the apocalypse to happen. So I was like, you know what? There's no time to grieve. I've got to prepare as soon as the stream's over. Because I just assumed it was the apocalypse. But I'm so relieved to see you guys. So relieved. We were really worried. All right. Now, what are you guys talking about? Spambot Fodder says, talking about the Chinese EV that locked the guy in while it burned it, while it set itself on fire. He says, I bet that locked-in driver didn't have a high social credit score. Probably not. So that's probably part of the social credit score there, is that if you've got a low one, the doors don't open when your Chinese EV explodes. Let's see. Number 8 on the like button. That is, number 8 is 1.7 good karma for you. I did the math in my head real quick there. Judo Survivor says, bulletproof glass doesn't seem like such a hot idea now. No. Nawada says, horrible. Let's see. Spambot says, instant made. Ooh, that is dark, Spambot. Very dark. Let's see. Judo Survivor says, there are no rocks or bricks laying around to break the glass. It's too bad there was no Antifa there. They just would have done it anyway. Snoopy knows. Yep, I think you're right. All right, I'm going to skip down a little bit now. Now we got too much chat. Spambot says, I would rather listen to Lemmy than hang out with a slag from Tinder. I agree, but what if, though? What if you thought it was the slag from Tinder, but it was Lemmy catfishing you? So it's not going to be, it's not going to be a normal hangout, hangout with Lemmy. That's the point, right? That's the point. Rosie, it's good to see you in the chat. All right. Let's see. Spambot says a 38-year-old Canadian man was euthanized and his heart was donated to a 59-year-old American man with heart failure. I wonder if he was euthanized for depression, because that's what they wanted. That's what the liberals, what Trudeau wanted. You're depressed, medical assistance dying for you. Nevada asks, is that the new Snow White? Yes, actually. Yes. Nevada says Disney got to make a fortune. Yeah, they I don't think they could go far wrong. The new Snow White is from Zimbabwe, obviously, Trudeau Survivor says. Rosie's having a laugh about Trudeau Survivors. They're all dead joke. We get some dark humor in here occasionally, and we can appreciate it. Spambot was number 6 on the like, as I was late joining. So number 6 would be a 1 point. I gave 1.7 to, so it's 1.9. 1.9. The math is rock solid on that one. Rosie says, too much chat. I'm almost offended. You get to yak and we're supposed to what? Supposed to listen respectfully. Spambot says, I will never contact anyone in a dating app. Yeah, I'm decades away from that. Never again. Never again. Canuck Six Stringer says, I'm dying to see her face. No, that's not important. It's just know that it's Salma Hayek. All right. Let's keep going. Let's see. It's not trendy. So Wilfred Riley here says it's not trendy anymore. What's he talking about? Well, he's talking about the social contagion. The social contagion of, the infinite series of abstractions that gender ideology has become. So Eric Kaufman posted this. New, trans identification is in free fall among the young. Well, it's not just that, it's non-binary, as if that were actually a thing, frog gender, all of the ridiculous abstractions. Share of students not identifying as male or female 2016 to 2025. So you can see that it's basically zero in 2019. Although it was at like 2% in 2016, but it seems to have lost some popularity and then just rocketed right through basically TikTok. Basically just the fire hose of toxic sludge sprayed on the Western world by TikTok. It goes right up to like the ridiculous 9%, a ridiculous level of 9%. And you see how and you see how quickly this all happens, right? You see how quickly this happens. That's a social contagion. That's a fad, right? A very, very damaging fad, a fad that can ruin young people's lives and even adults' lives as well. But all of a sudden, it is going right back down again. So these are different polls here, and you can see it. This is what a social contagion or a fad looks like. I mean, it's just people in the future, I believe, will look back at the media, at the medical establishment with horror. They will say, how could these people have been allowed to do what they did? It is so wrong. I mean, right here, this is as clear as day. It's as clear as day. This was a fad. These people were not actually the non-existent thing, which is non-binary, right? These people weren't actually trans, right? There's some very small number of people, very tiny number of people that have what you could say they have, persistent gender dysphoria. The rest of it's all just fashion. It's fashion. It's a social contagion. Let's see. All right, let's just keep going though. What do we got now? Oh, that's a horrible story we covered before. So I want to show this. So grave error. This is from Shareware Canada. So as you guys will know, there were the claims of all these mass graves of children at residential schools in Canada. These claims relied on ground-penetrating radar, which proves nothing. It cannot identify graves or bodies. There's just anomalies under the ground. And of course, everywhere you go, there's going to be anomalies. In places where there used to be orchards, for instance, there's going to be roots and things. It's going to be in lines. You can see that this is not reliable. It's certainly not reliable to make the extraordinary claim that there are hundreds of bodies buried. All right. And it gets actually worse. Kamloops band knows the whistleblower claims that in the 1990s development of the site for the band's new Powwow Arbor and Heritage Park, where the remains of 215 children are said to have been found in 2021, not actually found, was given the go-ahead after studies were done. Was given the go-ahead after studies were done to ensure that there were no artifacts or archaeological remains at the site. This, of course, means the persons conducting those studies would have found the 215 bodies in the 1990s had there actually been any bodies there. This is how corrupt the whole thing has become. Subsequently, tons of dirt were trucked in, and the site was leveled, meaning that the area in which Dr. Sarah Beaulieu conducted her GPR ground-penetrating radar survey on the long weekend in May 2021 had been massively disturbed during the 1990s construction project. Further research is needed to confirm the logistics and scale of the construction project described by the whistleblower. The whistleblower dismissed the idea that residential schools constituted genocide and accused band members of ignoring indigenous homelessness and indigenous people addicted to drugs and alcohol. So we know why that the $12 million that was given to the band in Kamloops did not result in any digs, because they knew there was nothing there. Right? It's as awful and cynical as it sounds. It's leverage. It's leverage to get funds. Again, $12 million were given in funding to do a dig, to do exhumations, and nothing ever happened. Nothing. And I think we could suspect that there was never any intention to, because they knew there's nothing there. All right. Woke Watch Canada newsletter. Kamloops band whistleblower says band made a mistake about finding the remains of 215 children, and the band knows it made a mistake. So, yeah, they knew back in the 90s, but what this was a moral panic intentionally created by the media and by liberal politicians and NDP politicians in Canada for political purposes. So it was cynical, right? You can't tell me that Trudeau didn't have one advisor around him who said, yeah, the ground penetrating radar doesn't mean anything. That doesn't prove anything. He didn't have one person tell him that? Or the one place where they did do a dig in a church basement, where apparently there were stories that there were bodies down there, and they actually did a dig there, and there was nothing. There was rocks. The media is totally unaware of this. The politicians are all totally unaware of this. No. It's actually gruesome how cynical it all has been. It's awful. And it's just creating needless trauma for politics. It's gross. What is Patrick Bet David talking about? From Wall Street Apes. If there's gonna be anything that takes this great country down, it's gonna be this. Well, he shows a clip of Muslims in New York City. So he's concerned about that. It's kind of become a concern across the Western world as we see the, open, overt displays of dominance. You don't see Catholics going down and praying in the middle of the road on busy city streets. You don't see that kind of thing. Why would they do this? They don't need to do it. They've got mosques. It's a display of dominance. It's like, hey, look, this is ours now. We can do whatever the hell we want. You have to work around us now.
This is the one part that we have a leak in the Constitution that if there's going to be anything that takes this great country down, it'll be this. Play this clip, Rob. This is New York City, by the way. Go ahead.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
This is New York City. Okay? All right, so you can pause it right there. Now go do this in Yemen. Go do this in Jordan. Go do this in Iran. Bring thousands of Christians outside and pray and see what happens. Go ahead and do that. See what takes place there.
Good luck.
This is the one part that we have.
It's a display of dominance. Obviously, you don't need to go and do that in Times Square. They don't need to do that. They've got mosques. It's a display of dominance. All right. What else we got here? Let's see. J Gen Xer says, I don't think that's what you're supposed to use that for. What's he talking about? Well, we have some, we've had some problems with corruption bribery, that sort of thing, with the licensing of truck drivers in Canada, particularly truck drivers from India. So let's see what's going on here. Yeah, so the stop sign doesn't work as well. It doesn't fulfill its purpose as well if it's under your semi because you didn't stop. The absolute state of Canada. The absolute state of Canada. What have we got here? We're just going to touch this briefly. State broadcaster CBC blurs out Nazi tattoo during an interview with Ukrainian fighter. I thought they were against Nazis. I thought they were against them. I thought they were supposed to be. The CBC, the Liberal Party, NDP, they got Nazis on the brain. Nazis on the brain. According to them, there's one hiding under every bed. But here's a Ukrainian guy with a Nazi tattoo, and they blur it out for some reason. See, if this was like one person at a Pierre Poilievre rally, it would lead the news for a month, for a year. But you're supposed to support the Ukrainians. You're supposed to support, the Azov battalion, I guess. And so it's a little different with this. You've been told to put your Ukrainian flag. And look, I'm not anti-Ukrainian at all, right? I don't think we should have anything to do with that war, that border war in a part of the world that is nowhere near Canada. But, I guess they said you got to put that Ukrainian flag in your bio. So you do your part and they'll do their part by hiding the fact that there's Nazis that they want you to support. You'd think that after, inviting the Waffen SS guy to Parliament, they would have learned their lesson, but no, apparently not. Nope. They're just gonna keep going. Whoa! Oh, that's not good. That's not good. What the hell is that?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
The age of men is over. The time of the orc has come.
Let's see. Katie Porter's bid to become California's next governor. Let's see. What does it say? You do not understand that I will eat any Californian who does not vote me for governor. That's not a metaphor. I will literally eat them like a Snickers bar. Let's see. We have something from her here. Let's see. So from John Kennedy, probably the best way to end the shutdown would be to lock Thune and Schumer in a room with Katie Porter and tell them they can't come out until there's a deal. She would eat them, I think.
To air pollution and other problems, and the state could lose. Get out of my shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't make the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay.
So, Frothy, why was she wearing a mask there? I mean, for God's sakes.
Also, were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start again. To air pollution and other problems.
So there's another clip of her. I'm not going to show it right now. Another clip of her losing it on a journalist because the journalist was wanting her to answer the same questions as everybody else. Yeah, she just seems horrible. She is just I don't know. She's like a commie kraken or something. Either it's like commie harpy or commie, I don't know. She just seems awful. Just terrible. The most empathetic people are always like that. Look at those two adorable fellows. Look at these two gentlemen right here. Can you see that, Rosie? Look at these two guys. These are Rosie's dogs. Look at these two wonders. Look at these two great guys. He looks a little bit suspicious, though. He's like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Why are you taking a picture of me? Why'd you put that hat on my head? And why are you taking a picture of me now? What are you going to use this for? You're not putting this on the internet, are you? And Rosie's like, no, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. No way I put this on the internet. Rosie says, she sounds really mean. Diva, stay out of my shot. Yeah, she seems horrible. Trudeau Survivor said, well, let's go back while we're talking about her. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, Porter has misery vibes. Yep. She'll tie you up and break your feet using an axe. Yes, 100%. Let's see. Nevada says, is that her wife? That's what I was wondering. I thought at first it would be her maid, but then she wasn't from Mexico. So let's see. I don't know what she's wearing. Maybe I'd wear a mask if I was in the same house as Katie Porter. Let's see. Let's see. All right, let's keep going. What else do we got? We're 2 hours and 36 minutes in. So what's going on here? Oh, this is spicy. This is a spicy tamale. Who put this up? Redheaded troublemaker. Okay, let's take a look. AI's getting too good. Too good. All right. Let's see. Let's go. Let's keep going. What do we got next? There they are. Look at those gentlemen there with their hats on, with their sombreros on. Wonderful. Let's watch this. Here's Babylon Bee. Satan teaches everything on Masterclass. Let's take a look. We like the Babylon Bee, don't we? We like him on this channel. Let's take a look.
Did God really say that? In my class. And that rule is this: there are no rules. There are no standards. There is no target. There is no truth. Listen to me. Learn from me. You can be like God. I'm Satan, and this is my masterclass.
Hey, he sounds just like Mark Ruffalo or Ruffalo. Crazy times. All right, let's, you know what? Let's, oh, here we go from the Babylon Bee. Hitler brings peace to Israel. It's been like ages since they named a street after him. They still accuse him of being an anti-Semite sometimes too. It's just so strange. So weird. But Hitler did bring peace to Israel, just like Hitler always wanted to do. Let's see. I don't want to see here anymore. 3 years of therapy in 1 minute. I think this guy has got an excellent point. Let's take a look.
Right, 3 years of therapy in 60 seconds. Here we go. Number one, turns out your parents did their best and also kind of fucked you up. But guess what? At the end of the day, you gotta deal with it. Number two, no one is coming to save you. No magical mentor, no secret billionaire uncle, not even fucking Batman. It's just you. And yeah, that includes doing basic stuff like folding your laundry before it becomes a fucking roommate. Number three, boundaries. That doesn't mean blocking somebody on Instagram. Say it with me. No, with a smiley face. No. See? Revolutionary. Don't have to be mean or rude. Number four, stop chasing people who treat you like a fucking option. I'm not a side quest. And if they can't see that, they need to go play somebody else's game. Number five, self-care isn't bath bombs and face masks. It's getting 8 hours of sleep, eating something that grew in the ground, and answering that email before it ruins your whole fucking week. Number six, feelings don't kill you. Crying won't kill you. Screaming into a pillow won't kill you. But ignoring your feelings? Oh, that's going to destroy you from the inside out. Number seven, you don't find yourself. You build yourself day by day. Some days you're leveling up and other days you're responding at square one. Both of them count. And last but not least, most of the time it's not that deep. You're not cursed. You're just tired, thirsty, and maybe overdue for a snack. There you go. That's 3 years of therapy condensed into a 60-second rant. I saved you 15 grand. Venmo me $5.
The only thing I disagree with is ignoring your feelings. It can be done, and it's just more dignified, quite frankly. Let's see. Now what are we doing? Now where are we going? All right. People on YouTube, make sure you go and subscribe to the new channel, Radio Baloney News. All of the U.S., world, meme reviews, Book My Virus stuff on that channel. It's a featured channel on the channel you're watching right now. You have to go there. YouTube doesn't want you to do it. Do it just to spite YouTube. What are you guys saying? Let's see. Rosie says they liked the hats. Talking about the dogs. They are said they cannot have mustaches too. Okay, I trust you. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, create an AI video with those puppies. No, that's sacrilege. Let's see. All right, let's get going here. Look at this. Look at this. This is better than the possum. All right, let's take a look here. Oh, that possum had no idea what was coming. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, we looked at this the other day. We looked at this on the last stream. So here's just some people throwing stuff on ice. That's fun. That one is cool. Strangely satisfying. Ooh, that would feel good. Yikes. Crazy, but strangely satisfying, isn't it? This should be a crime. Oh, yeah. We watch this. It's not fair. Look at this. Not fair. Should be a crime. This should be
right to jail right away.
Absolute favorites. Look at what they do. That's really all I need to say. You just gotta see. This is crazy, but this is what it is. It's basically just a sticky pad that sticks to your clothing and to your skin. So I'm gonna take the thick part of it right here, and I'm gonna go in and sweep her in, make sure she's nice. Then I'm gonna go, make sure it's up to my shirt really good. Then I'm gonna go in, grab my girl, place her back down. Insanity. Insanity.
Lies. Lies. That's not right. That's not okay. You can't just do that. That's not fair. No. I'll say it again.
Right to jail, right away.
That is dishonest, and lying is wrong. Let's see. What's going on here? So, to think this guy could have simply voted for Donald Trump instead of setting himself on fire. Well, this is dark, but yeah, he set himself on fire for Palestine. And this is what this is the kind of derangement that the media works tirelessly to create every single day. So what is this real? I think I remember vaguely something about this. The peak woke era had to be experienced to be believed. Look at how these women had to pretend this dude falling over all over the ice was normal. I do vaguely remember something about this.
Naismoodissa, vaikka syntyperäisin olenkin mies. Ja sieltä on niin kuin 9 vuotta aikaa, eli siihen 9 vuoteen sisältyy aika paljon. Eli kun lähdetään ihan nollasta, niin ihan jo sitä, että pysyy pystyssä 2 jalalla, pysyy pystyssä 1 jalalla ja sen jälkeen rupeaa niin kuin uskaltamaan tehdä jotakin siellä jäällä. Ja sitten alkaa pikkuhiljaa kisaamaan ja esiintymään näytöksissä ja niin edelleen. Että sanotaan, että aika kivaa ura on ollut, mutta tietysti korona tuli vähän sitten väliin, että se sitten sotki kuviota. Mutta eteenpäin mennään ja homma jatkuu.
Mahtavaa. Näiden EM-kisojen slogan on tule sellaisena kuin olet.
Naismoodissa, vaikka...
So at first I thought it must be some sort of a sketch or something, but no, it's real. And like, this is a bad sign for your civilization when you're indulging this level of delusion. Like when you're going this far, right? To just to push just a bizarre delusional view of the world. It's not good. It's not healthy. This is a sign that you've got problems as a culture. So this is just awful. Good Lord. See, normally I like dogs, but this is just no more. Oh, that just ruined dogs for me. Let's see. I think we watched that before. Some of this we've seen before. I said earlier, we looked at this earlier. This video is AI generated, it turns out. So it's scary how realistic this is. That just looks real. Right? The cat brings a mouse it killed and puts it in his mouth, but it's AI generated. So that's gross. As bad as this is, though, they're going to do one where instead of a mouse, it's going to be Liberace. And well, I don't even want to say, but I think you could all imagine it's going to be even worse. So what's going on here? They tried to steal the air compressor, but the workers up top started launching wood and firing their nail guns at them. I don't know where this is. Let's take a look. So it's like Mexico probably, or LA. I don't know. But let's take a look. I'm going to turn off the sound because of the music. Let's see. So these guys are trying to steal that. And then they just start launching stuff out at them. Pretty brazen. Try to steal the air compressor right off their work site. He tries to launch it back. He definitely wants that air compressor. He's not very coordinated, this guy, is he? Doesn't seem very coordinated. That's not George Floyd, is it? JJ Nevada says they're turning the dogs gay. Yeah, don't let Alex Jones see that video. That's it. So, no, they didn't get it. They just said, nope, we're cutting our losses. We are cutting our losses. Let's see. What was Rosie saying here? It's all lies. Silicone, makeup, surgery, hair color, etc., etc. Men seem to like the lies in my experience. Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent. Not certainly not like constantly all the time, but you're going out. I mean, stuff that's, Rosie says the only one I invest in is makeup. Makeup's good. I mean, I like makeup. Let's see. All right. It might be Jesse Smollett. Smollett. A Trudeau survivor says. All right. Well, let's see. What else we got here? Oh, we already covered that thing. I don't want to go over that again. Let's see. Look at this. Dog accidentally locks himself in the car and won't budge. So the owner plays the ultimate mind game, pretends to pet another dog. Jealousy kicks in. Let's take a look. This is what dogs are like. I'm not playing that damn music. Stop putting the music on these things. They don't need it. Let's see. Dog won't budge. Oh, I see. So then he steps forward. Okay. There you go. Without having to break the window. Good times. Well, that was a good, happy ending. This one was not real. So, yeah, we're not going to watch that. Look at this. I wonder if this is AI, too.
Oh, jeez.
I feel like that might be real. There's no reader's note there on it, so I think it probably is. But that would scare me. That would super scare me. Let's see. This one, actually, we've shown that. We've done the one. I think we've seen all these ones. Hold on. Here's one. This is pretty crazy. Look at this. You'd have to have ice in your veins. You'd have to have ice in your veins to pull that off. That is crazy. That is nuts. All right. All right, that's it. We're almost 3 hours. I've got to wake up early to have the locks rekeyed. So I think that'll do it for tonight. All right, hold on. I just realized I haven't done a single ad read. Let's do one right now. Let's see what we got. Let's see where the big money is. All right. You know where the big money is. I love the NFL tune-in season. I love that ad. I love it so much. I love it when Winston Churchill reads the NFL tune-in. Football fanatics, are you ready for some prime time NFL action? Tune in to the Westwood One for all the gridiron glory you crave. From jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays. Don't miss a moment of the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, and every victory on Westwood One. You can listen to the NFL on the NFL app, on the Westwood One Sports app, on WestwoodOneSports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Well, that's not a bad Winston Churchill there. That was all right. That's not bad. We shall Westwood One on the beaches. We shall Westwood One on the landing grounds. And in the fields. And in the streets. We shall Westwood One in the hills. We shall never not Westwood One. I put in that extra effort for the ad reads because I love them so much, and I love the Westwood One ad so much. I love to read it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like a man. Trudeau Survivor says, I think the bear licking face video is fake. It feels fake to me too, actually. It does. All right. Rosie says, Lux rekeyed. What did Mr. Snacks do? Well, Mr. Snacks didn't do anything. Let's see. Rosie says, Ed Reed, 10 out of 10, which I think is almost the most you can get out of 10. No commie hate. Well, I can't do it. I got to read the exact script for the Westwood one. I would have been 12 out of 10. Well, I'll get you guys some commie hate on the next one. Let's see. Trudeau's right. So I shouldn't have mentioned the Lux being rekeyed, should I? We shall never mention it again. I will end off this stream with the advice that I always give to people starting out in the world. The thing you must remember, to never be disappointed in life. Number 1, love is a lie. Number 2, everybody secretly hates you. And if you just remember those 2 simple things, you will never be disappointed in life. Never. Just remember, the universe is totally cold and indifferent. Just remember that. You'll never be unhappy. You'll never be disappointed in life. These are this is my stoic wisdom for all of the world, for future generations to learn from, like Marcus Aurelius. This is what I'm leaving behind for civilization. Let's see. Alrighty. So, all right. Well, Jesus does love you. I'm fine. Now, I got to remember to say this because it's coming up. There will be no more live streams. I'm leaving in a couple of days for a road trip, and I am going to be gone. I extended it for a couple extra days. I was supposed to be back Monday. I extended it to Wednesday, and because I just felt like I needed an extra couple of days, just because I'll be honest with you guys, it's because you know what the beautiful thing about this is, what this new kind of media is that it's not like this giant thing where it's like millions of people. It's like this community. We all know each other, and we're all kind of friends in a way, right? You guys are like part of the show, right? You guys are all featured players in the show. So it's just it's personal. Pardon me. I've got allergies and I keep getting crap in my throat. It's personal in a way that like watching TV never could be, right? So I'll level with you guys. Yes, it's been a difficult last little bit. I don't know, week or something like that. But I'm fine. Again, I always remember, love is a lie, and everybody secretly hates you. But I will just say I'm actually glad to have a week off. So there'll be no live streams until I get back. So it'll be the Friday after this Friday. So I guess like 9 days, something like that, will be the next live stream. And unless, something crazy, I'll take my mobile studio as I always do. So, if something crazy happens, maybe I'll jump on. It wouldn't be on like a regular night, probably. But you never know. And I usually, say I'm not going to do any work, but I usually do a few clip videos while I'm away. You guys know that. So I'll take my mobile studio with me. But yeah, there's not going to be any more live streams until maybe I'll try and remember to put something up so that you guys can see. So you don't just think people who aren't here right now, so they know that I am coming back and I haven't just abandoned everybody. But yeah, so I got to be honest, I need the break, you guys. I'm in my I'm a very happy person. I don't get down. I've always got a joke. I'm not like one of these people who's like, always, no, I have a great life. I'm a very happy person. I don't get down, But right now I'm a little bit, more than I thought I would be. I got to be honest, so I'm very happy to take a week off and just go do nice, wholesome, good things out at the, out on the island. So lots of nature and stuff, cabin on the water, hanging out with good people. And so I'm very happy to do that. But yeah, I'm sad that I'm not going to be here, but I got to take a break sometimes. Right? Let's see. Let's see. Changing the locks and then going on a road trip, the plot thickens. Well, I was going on the road trip the whole time. I've had it booked for like 2 months, but I was not going by myself before, and now I'm going by myself. Let's see. Well, I will miss you guys too. Maybe I might show up on a live stream. We don't know. I mean, it could happen if I've got decent internet somewhere. All right. Well, thank you very much, you guys. Thanks for showing up, as you guys always do. You guys are awesome. It would be depressing, and actually, it's cheered me up an enormous amount. So I missed the Sunday stream because I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But I didn't want to do it yesterday either, but I did, and it was fun. We had a really good time. It cheered me up quite a bit, and this cheered me up tonight. So there was 3 hours of cheering me up. So I thank you guys. I appreciate it very much. And I will see you guys, at the latest, I guess. Pardon me. I will see you guys probably not this Friday, but the Friday after. And then I've got to do a bunch of live streams at fulfill the creator program. You guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you as soon as I can. See you guys.